You sounded, yeah, okay. I was gonna say you did sound a little bit like Mario. I'll let you have that one. I'll let you have it. Oof, Iso, man. Is that my superhero name? Yes, Brian's muted for time. Yeah. All right. And we've got a wild pusher in the chat as well. Hello, man. Good to see you. Geo and Pluto as well. Hey, guys.
Check, check. Mic check 1, 2. All right, I should be unmuted now. OBS just decided to remove my audio source. Cool. Very cool.
It's OBS is just recognizing that it's my time to shine.
I gotta make sure that I'm okay. The news viewer then is. It didn't remove it from the news viewer. Okay, it only removed it from the 2-person overlay. Interesting. OBS back at it again.
OBS MVP.
the true MVP, guys.
Absolutely. Pusher saying it's 2:55 a.m. Why are you still awake? I don't know, man, but I'm still awake and I'm only an hour behind you. So if I'm awake, you can be awake. Oh, you need to turn up your volume as well, Brian.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
What are you doing? I don't know.
That's what the pre-stream is for, I suppose.
Sorting all these technical issues out. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's super loud on my ears then.
Okay, I'll fix. How is that?
Yeah, it's good for me. Good for me.
I need people in chat to tell me how this is. I was at 50%. Now I'm at 75%.
Yeah, you sound good to me. So.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean I sound good on stream. So I need them to tell me as well.
That's true. That's true.
Brian, sound low still. Definitely better. Do I sound about the same level as Jay?
Yes, testing.
We never expect anything less than 100%. Brian, I'm gonna need you to hit question mark percentage. That's a good Mob Psycho reference there. Very nice.
Apparently I'm still louder. And shout out to Tyson as well, MK Tyson, with 5-month streak, saying keep up the awesome work, guys. Thank you very much, dude. We really appreciate all of the subs and the support. It's very, very much appreciated.
Thank you, Tyson. I'm going to turn myself up louder, Jay. You might need to turn me down on your end, honestly.
Oh man, I've got you at 20%. That's how loud you are at the minute.
Well, I gotta make sure that they can hear me on stream well enough. So I'm gonna go from 75 to 85%. Hopefully that's a little bit better for you guys.
Hopefully. And shout out to Pusher for the 100 bits as well. Thank you very much, dude. We appreciate that. All of your support does warm our hearts, so thank you very much. And Luna Sama as well with a tier 1 sub, 12 months of subs now. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, guys. Alright, so hopefully we should be good on the audio now. I turned myself up about 10% more.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Tyson says you honestly both sound fine. Brian sounds more clear than Jay, but nothing wrong with the audio. Well, yeah. My audio is directly into OBS, while Jay has to be compressed through Discord.
Yeah, Discord compression sucks.
Yes, it does.
Mr. Petrov in chat as well, just popped in to say hello and good luck tonight. I thought you were going to the ballet tonight, dude. What are you doing? And 159 as well. 10 tier 1 subs gifted to the community.
What a guy.
Wow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, dude. That's awesome. So Forever, Madrigal, DJ Flippy, Holton, Rudbeard, Iconic Beef, Pusher, That Hand Thing, EQ Tree, Eskimojo, and Jeff Leopard. Wow. Well done, guys. There you go.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
That is awesome.
And Pilot donates 210 show love bits. Thank you very much, sir. All the love, guys. Mr. Petrov with 557 love bits. All the love, guys.
Aww.
My heart,
Thanks, guys.
my Kokoro.
You pass as well with the Twitch Prime subs. Subscribe for 4 months. Thank you very much, dude. God, everyone's showing love today, man. This is
it's a love kind of day.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day was a couple months ago, guys, but I still feel it.
Yeah, we still appreciate all of this support. It's just fantastic to see. It does really, really, it keeps me going at this time in the morning. I'll be honest.
Yeah, we're both a little sapped on energy right now, but Top Clack must go on. That's how we've always done, and that's what we will continue to do.
Absolutely.
Pusha says still single. Hey man, nothing wrong with a single life.
No, that's fine. He does all right, does Pusha. And Talisman Solutions with his customary 1,111 bits as well. Thank you very much, man. Storming into the lead there. 85,555 bits. Wow, that's a huge number.
That's otherworldly.
Chat talking about the SA Rika interest check as well.
Yeah,
it does have some amazing renders, guys. I'll give you that.
It's something. It sure is something. Tyson donates 159 bits. as a courtesy to 159, I imagine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Mountain Blocks as well says happy Thursday, boys, and donates 444 bits. Thank you very much, dude.
Thanks, guys. A lot of random bit amounts being donated today. I like it.
Yeah.
Riot on the Bay in chat. Hey, gang. How's it going, man?
Wow.
We will be talking about the Keycult No.2. It is fairly early on in our news doc.
Yeah. I think it's something that there's a lot of people looking forward to.
Yeah, good stuff. The bot actually pinged the Discord already too, so I suppose we can get this road on the show, if you know what I mean, guys.
Let's go for it.
Alright, guys, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Top Clack, your weekly source for mechanical keyboard news and random assorted mumbo-jumbo from your hopefully favorite duo in the keyboard community. Name a better duo, I'll wait. Of course, I am your host, Quakeums, here with my co-host, Jay. We're going to talk all about some cool keyboard stuff today. We have a very, very, very healthy news doc. This thing is long, guys. This is going to be a pretty info-packed show, so I hope you guys are strapped in for that. And if not, well, do what you got to do.
I'm getting no sleep tonight, guys, because I've got to be up for 7 a.m. as well, and it's now 2 a.m., so this show's going to be at least 2.5 hours long, so...
This is going to be a doozy, guys. We got a lot of cool things to talk about. So, hopefully you guys enjoy. But we will start out with a little bit of a mail call, as we tend to. And
before we do, just going to call out some bits. Pusher with 59 bits. Holy Pandas aren't great with 100 bits. And Tyler Durden's with his tier 3 sub. Thank you very much for that, dudes.
Thank you very much, guys. That. And Pilot gives a tier 1 sub to LBI Bass. So thank you so much.
Nice. Awesome.
You guys are awesome. All right, so a little bit of a mail call, as is tradition. I did get a couple things, which is really unusual. Usually I don't get anything these days. But I did a couple things, so you can't really see them, obviously, but in this little test bench board that I have right here, I have some T1 switches from KBDfans. I asked Way if I could get some review samples to check out, and he happily obliged. So I've been using those for the last couple days, and they've been pretty good. They're definitely not perfect, but they're pretty good. I'll have more opinions on that in the near future. I also got sent. Actually, this just arrived today. I think it's in pieces, so bear with me here, guys. The the Prime E, or as I like to call it in the past, the Prime E. So this is the kind of, I don't know. I guess it's somewhat Alice inspired 45% kind of keyboard thing going on here. Very, very thick integrated aluminum plate. There's a pretty hefty aluminum bottom as well that goes along with it. This is kind of a review sample / build sample from Prime Keyboards. That Holtank, is that how you say his name? His username?
Holton, yeah. I think he's in chat actually. Yeah.
Oh, is he? Okay. Cool. So he sent me this to build up on stream and kind of show off and talk about it and do a little typing test, and I was happy to do so. So he sent that over, and I'll probably be doing a little build stream about tomorrow. I'm hoping tomorrow. I'm aiming for tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, it might be like Sunday night. But in the very near future, I will be doing a little bit of a build stream up with that. It's a pretty simple build, guys. It's a 45%. It doesn't use a whole lot of stabilizers. It's a hot swap PCB, so it's a pretty quick build. So it'll be kind of a slower, casual stream, and we'll just talk about it and stuff like that. It'll be a good time. So look forward to that.
Awesome.
And
yeah, I can't wait to see what that looks like built up, because it looks really, really cool.
It feels quite premium unbuilt, so I'm really looking forward to it.
That's good.
But that's all I got this week. But of course, in traditional Jay fashion, Jay has received literally everything that every country has exported ever in existence.
Man, this week has been crazy. It's been crazy. Prepare for about 10 minutes worth of mail call, guys. The first thing I want to call out is we got some awesome little Top Clack business cards in this week. So I've got business cards and note pages for meetups and things like that. There's a UK meetup next week on Saturday. So I'm going to be taking those along to help promote Top Clack to the UK community. As well as that, I got a package from MyKeyboard.eu that had a number of things in this week. So first thing is I got 3 different types of lube off of them. I got some 3204, some 3203, and some 205 grade 0. So lots of nice lubes there. UPass also sent me a package this week, and in that I got some Crystal lube samples to try. So thank you very much for that, UPass. I also got some more phase switches, because you can never have enough linears. So I think there's 120 in there. Stabilizers, Fax sent out 3 packs of stabilizers, because I've got so many builds coming up, I'm going to need them. So lots and lots of stabilizers. I got 2 kayak kits to build. These are acrylic kayaks. One's in a nice green colour, and the other one's just in clear plastic. So I'll be building those up soon. I think I'm going to give one away at the UK meetup. I haven't decided which one yet, but I've got both of those. I also got a plain 60C, which I haven't unwrapped yet, so that's from Martin, which is incidentally going to go into my Brutal 60. So the Brutal 60 from UPass turned up this week as well. This lovely shade of blue with that profile. Where's the camera? There it is. So I'm going to be building that on stream on Sunday. I also got another board from UPass, which has a nice green PCB. But you're not interested in the PCB. What you are interested in is the board itself, which is the white Satisfaction 75. Now, I'm not allowed to show you the back of this, guys, but I can tell you it is really cool. But UPass has sworn me to secrecy on what's on the way. I'm not allowed to show it even on the build stream. But I can promise you it looks amazing. So I can see it right now, and it looks fantastic.
Before you accidentally show it on the build stream.
I promised I wouldn't. So if anything does happen, it will be an accident. But yeah, carbon fiber plate on this. So I'm really looking forward to building that up as well.
Very cool. I think Kelly in chat is right when he says, on this episode of Top Clack, Jay has seized the means of production.
Pretty much, pretty much.
I know that doesn't that doesn't end your mail call. That's like half of your mail call, so keep going.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're about a third of the way through. He also sent me this fantastic knob for the Satisfaction 75. So it's a brass knob with some mother of pearl inlay on top, which I'm hoping the camera picks it up, because it's really lovely. It's really nice. I also got some katakana alphas from MyKeyboard.eu. They sent them across as well. So we're checking those out on stream. And then I also got some key sets this week. So I got GMK Chocolatey, which is going to go on the Satisfaction 75 when I build that up. And then I also got GMK Modern Dolch, which you might have seen on the JO one that I posted pictures of the other day. I also got another set of Modern Dolch, which is brand new, unopened, and might have something to do with something else that we're going to talk about.
Why would you have a second set of GMK Modern Dolch? That makes no sense. I mean, why would you need 2 of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, what possible reason could there be to have two sets of modern Dolch? It just doesn't make sense.
I don't know, but it might lead us into our first announcement of the day. Clack is running a new logo contest. So you might have been hearing around the grapevine that Clack is going to be working on a bit of a refresh, if you will, a little bit of an evolution, I prefer to call it, actually.
Yeah.
We're going to be not necessarily changing our content, but we're going to be upping our amount of content. We're going to be refreshing a lot of our media assets, I guess you could say, logo being one of them, overlays, stuff like that. So, you know, Jay and I are not exactly artists, so we don't have a lot of natural art talent, so we kind of want to draw inspiration from other people and see what a lot of people come up with. So we are officially opening a little bit of a contest right now for a logo redesign. So Jay's going to put that in chat if he hasn't already, and you guys can check that out. So you can fill out that form, you can design a little logo. It'll run for about 6 days. So you have a little bit of time to work on it, and then we'll kind of pick a winner. Jay and I will be deciding the winner ourselves, and the winner will receive a brand new unopened set of GMK Modern Dolch, just like you saw Jay show off. There's lots of information and rules and whatnot in the form itself, so make sure you read all of the text in the form itself, guys.
Yeah. And just a couple of things before we do that. First of all, shout out to Jan and My Keyboard EU, so that's Janglad. They were kind enough to donate this to us for a giveaway to promote the set and a number of other bits and pieces as well. So big shout out to them. Thank you so much for letting us have that key set and for being able to give it away to our community. In terms of the giveaway itself and the competition, don't worry about what your design looks like. We're looking for themes and we're looking for ideas and inspiration and things like that. So even if you're not an artist or anything like that, but you have a good idea, it doesn't matter if you draw it on pen and paper, it doesn't matter if you do it in MS Paint, it doesn't matter if you take a picture of something and send it in with some graffiti on it or something like that. Whatever you come up with, we'll review them all independently. And what the plan is to take some inspiration. We'll pick a winner, and that may or may not become our logo, depending on what it is, but it might be more that it's inspiration for what we want as our logo going forwards, and at that point we'll work with a designer to evolve that and incorporate the ideas into our rebrand and refresh effectively.
Yep, so get your creative juices flowing, guys, and make sure you get in on that. And so hopefully you can maybe win a set of GMK Modern Dolch. Brand new, fresh. Plastic wrap is still on it, guys.
It is, guys. It is completely unopened. It's brand new. And you know, who knows? You might even get it before Dixie gets his shipment sent out. So, you know.
Feels America, man. So yeah, make sure you guys are checking that out. We'll probably share the link a couple more times throughout the show. It'll of course be in the AOD description, the VOD description on YouTube. It'll be in the announcements channel on the official server linked below, Discord server. So you'll have multiple places to find it if you guys you know, miss it or whatever. But make sure you hop in on that. Help us create a new logo, guys.
Yeah. Help us be the best Top Clack we can be. You know, let's get this show on the road. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what you guys come up with. It's exciting time for Brian and I. We've been talking about this behind the scenes for a little bit now, and we're both really excited by it. So you know, we can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
Yep, absolutely. One final announcement, of course, we're still kind of pimping our 24-hour stream, which is upcoming. Jay and I have pretty recently officially started structuring it. So we want to do a lot of things, guys. This is going to be, like I've said before, this is going to be like a serious event. It's not just going to be like a 24-hour live stream. Like there's going to be a lot more going on within that 24-hour live stream. It's going to really, truly be like a multi-segment event featuring lots of different people, lots of different segments. You know, there's a huge range.
We've got some really good ideas as well. There's some stuff that you guys are really going to enjoy. There's a lot of audience participation. There's a lot of chat stuff to talk through. There's a lot of stuff that'll be really cool to watch and see. We're both really excited for it. So we hope you guys are going to be just as psyched for it as we are.
Yeah, it's going to be freaking awesome, guys. It's going to be unlike anything that this community has ever done before. So really looking forward to that. Unfortunately, it's going to take a lot of planning, a lot of structuring, and a lot of designing and kind of setting up. So it's not going to be as soon as we had hoped. We were hoping to do it this month, but it's really starting to look like middle of next month maybe even towards late next month, but still coming soon, guys. It's going to be well worth the wait. Lots of giveaways, lots of really cool segments, lots of cool features, lots of cool people joining us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're dead looking forward to it. And as soon as we've got a date, guys, we will share it with you. We'll let you know what the date is. We'll be advertising it well in advance, so you'll have plenty of time to prepare for it as well. So, yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
Kelly saying my Discord DMs are always open says, well, you never know. You never know.
That's right. That is right. So now we will move into a little bit of a news doc. I say a little bit of a news doc, but it's
a huge one.
It's a big news doc with a lot of info. So let's just get right in there, Jay. Let us just get in here.
Well, the first one that we've got up is the new KBDfans KBD 8x Mark II. So this has been designed by AIO3 and Way together. They've got a number of different bits and pieces to it. So there's the main TKL section, there's an additional numpad, and all sorts of other bits. In terms of some statistics, if we start looking at it, it starts from $250 in terms of the price. ALU or PC tops and bottoms, and there's a range of colours for the ALU as well. There's an awful lot of colours actually. The matching numpad also comes in the same colours, and you can have that to match identically. But in terms of the top and bottom, you can split them and have multiple colours. So you can have black, silver, grey, blue, green, burgundy, pink, purple, e-white, or polycarbonate. And you can split between the two and have either option on the top or bottom. In terms of plates, there's a PC half plate option or a PC full plate. That's polycarbonate. There's also brass half and full plate options as well, if that's more your thing. There's a couple of different layout choices. You can have wing keyless or TKL. But then there's also your standard things like split left shift and split backspace and ISO support if you want to use that as well. So that's the facts. In terms of the price, it's $250 for the base kit, plus some additional depending on what plates you want to pick and things like that. But it's around $300 depending on what options you select. And I think this is a bit of a winner. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, no, I think this is looking pretty good. Like you mentioned, it starts at $250. That $250 price does not include your plate, guys. So, like you can see here, you have to pick your plate and add it separately, which you can do via this section out back here. They're kind of separated, but the base kit does include the PCB, which is pretty cool. So $250 gets you the kit, the PCB, and then you add the plate separately. The polycarbonate plate options, whether you're going half plate or full plate, $35 each. If you want the fancier brass stuff, it's going to be $49 each, regardless of if full plate or half plate. And you can add some of these fancy kind of T1 switches that are pretty new for about $50 there. And you can also add stabilizers as well. So pretty good price considering you can get this for south of $300. I think it looks pretty good.
I agree. I think there's some other things as well that are really interesting about it. The first thing is it's USB-C, which, as we know, is the future, and most boards are moving towards USB-C as we go through it. But also there's this PCB. Now, as a lot of people know, there's been boards recently that have relief cuts made into the PCB to support more flexible builds. So that started originally on the OTD boards back in the day, but more recently it's been seen in the GSKT and a couple of boards from cable car designs as well. And AIO3 has built that into the 8x here. So this PCB has two relief cuts cut across the whole of the alpha rows, so you can have more flexibility in your typing feel, especially if you're going to go for a half plate option. That's going to be a really, really flexible typing feel. Yeah. But it is really interesting, and I think it looks great as well. The design of the case is really nice. The matching numpad makes perfect sense for a TKL. 7-degree angle. What more could you want from a TKL, to be honest, at that price?
Yeah, in AIO3, one of the designers of this board, the main designer, I presume, has already stated that he's not going to be taking any profit on this. So that way they could keep the price as low as it could theoretically be. And I think we're really seeing that here because, south of $300 for this nice looking of a TKL.
Yeah,
it's pretty good, man. You can't really get that anywhere else, honestly. Most TKL custom group buys are well over the $400 mark. A lot of them well over the $500 mark or more. So
Yeah.
This is a pretty easy buy if you're in the market for a custom TKL, in my opinion. The group buy is going to be open until the 30th of this month, so you have about 19 days left to join in on this. The weight is almost 2.4 kilograms, so hefty. pretty darn hefty for what it is. I'm not sure what configuration they're referring to when they say that. I imagine, to pad the numbers, that's probably the full brass plate version, so that way it gets a little bit of extra weight there. I imagine it'll be a little bit lighter if you choose the polycarbonate plate option, but you know, it is what it is.
Same for the case as well. I imagine if that's the full aluminium case rather than the polycarbonate ones, but
yeah, and just because I like to point out typos, the bottom case here comes in polycarbonate. Yeah, you can get the top case in polycarbonate, but the bottom is polycarbonate.
Completely different material, guys. You know, it's very different, very different.
very different. Totally kidding, of course. But one thing I do like here is you can actually customize the colors and materials of the top and bottom. So let's say you want, I don't know, you want a purple top and a polycarbonate bottom. You can do that. You want a polycarbonate top and an E-white bottom. You can do that. I like this a lot. That customization is awesome. It should be absolutely standard, I feel like.
I agree. Yeah, if you can pick one color for your whole board, you should be able to specify different colors for different halves. I absolutely agree. I think this looks really, really good in those color options as well. The green is standing out to me. The green and the kind of tealish blue. Those two colors that stand out to me at the minute. But I'm quite tempted by this, to be honest. I am quite tempted.
Yeah, the polycarbonate is going to be a little bit more expensive. So it's about $20 a piece more for polycarbonate, whether you want the top or the bottom. So it winds up being, you know, about $40 more expensive if you get a full polycarbonate version. So do keep that in mind. I do think, obviously, because of that makes the aluminum a little bit better of a value. If I got this, I'd probably get aluminum, honestly. Clack is supposed to be getting a review sample of this at some point. I don't know for sure, and I don't know when. But I've been told that we should be getting a review sample of this, so hopefully we can do a little bit of a build stream on that in the nearish future.
That'd be nice. That will be nice. Kelly's just pointed out that on the layouts there is another little typo here. So it does say the layout select you can go for wing keyless or 10 keyless. Now obviously it's a 10 keyless board, so he's right, it is wing keyless or wing key. Those are the options. So that's a slight mistake on there. So the WK will be the wing keyless option, and the TKL option will be what you see in the made renders at the top, which is where you have the full bottom row.
Yep, exactly. So pretty cool stuff. Also, shout out to Much LOLs for subbing with a tier 2 sub 2 months in a row. Thank you so much.
Wow, that's
nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so that's the KBD8X Mark II. Make sure you hop in on this before the 30th if this is your thing, which it should be, because this is just freaking awesome. This just exudes value.
It does, yeah. It's a price that, you know, 6 months ago we wouldn't have seen for this type of board. Again, it's an example of way, you know, knocking things out of the park in terms of quality and price, and especially the fact that it's designed by someone like AI03 as well, which, you know, he's one of the top designers in the PCB game. He's, you know, got a lot of respect from a lot of the other makers as well. So, you know, it's not to be sniffed at, isn't the design heritage behind this board?
Yeah, it's looking like a no-brainer IMO. All right, let's move on to the interest check for the 45 ATS, otherwise known as the 45 and then some. So interesting name, yeah. It's very cute. It's very cute. I'll give him that. So this is I guess another 45% board is the percentage they're going with here, and this is kind of an homage, I feel like, to the TMO50 in some ways, where they try to have kind of a standard 40% cluster that's kind of friendly for users that are probably more used to 60% or larger. And then they have the dedicated arrow keys, and then what I'm going to call an artisan macro over here on the right side. So this is a pretty interesting board, and I've spent a lot of time looking at this layout, and I still can't tell if this is going to be something that I could use or not. How do you feel about this in terms of the layout, Jay?
In terms of the look, I think the layout looks fantastic. It reminds me of a slimmed down CA66, and as everyone knows, that's what I designed the expanded JA1 on as well. It's that kind of, that whole, you know, right hand side. I really like that look and feel. In terms of usability for me, again, I would struggle with it, but I am managing really well with the TMO50, and this kind of feels like it's some sort of distant cousin to the TMO50 kind of layout. So I'm kind of intrigued by it. In terms of the interest check itself, he does mention a couple of fun things. He said currently he runs a JD45, which is nice, but it's missing a few things, which is arrow keys and top mount and something called dynamic style, which I assume he means looks.
Marketing terms.
Yeah. So I think this is really good. It's top mount. It's small. It's compact. It looks nice. It has arrow keys and functionality that a lot of people moving to smaller boards miss. I think it looks quite nice. I've got to be honest. The renders look great. Pictures look great. It's looking good.
Yeah, it looks like a very premium sub 60% board. And I feel like that's kind of where the community is lacking a little bit right now. We don't really have any of those like really nice, truly high-end, really tiny boards. We're starting to see a little bit more of them now, obviously with stuff like the TMO50, stuff like the Prime E that I'll be building in a build stream soon, and the Pearl, things like that. We're starting to kind of push into that space of higher quality 40, 45, 50% boards, and I think that's really good. It's about time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. Just in terms of some other specs as well, so it has a 6-degree typing angle. It is top mount 3-piece construction, so you've got the plate and then the top and the lower case. There'll be no RGB on this board. He wants to keep it nice and clean. He wants a brass plate option with multiple finishes, but there won't be any full brass or poly versions of the board in terms of the CNC work. So unless it becomes super popular, he's just planning on doing it in aluminium for now. Yep. And then in terms of colours, he wants to keep it quite neutral, so he's thinking silver, black, grey, just to keep it really, really nice and simple. But he does say that he wants at least one less common colour, maybe a navy blue, but it's up to you guys to vote on it in the form as well, because there's a Google interest check form there as well.
Yep, absolutely. So show interest in this if this is something you're into. I think it's a pretty nice looking board, personally.
Yeah, I think I'm quite interested by the bottom row layouts as well, because you can have split space or you can even have full space, which is unusual on these smaller boards. A lot of them don't support it. So to be able to have a 6.25U space bar on there really makes it for me. I quite like that.
Same. Even though it's less functional, I just like it more, darn it.
Yep, I do too. The other thing that made me laugh in this interest check as well is he says they also make a good shelf object too. So even if you don't plan on using it, it's a nice decorative item for your shelves, which might fit my philosophy on keyboards.
Yeah, I mean most of your keyboards are decoration at this point, so
that's probably fair. Yeah.
Fair enough. CJT9000 gifting a tier 1 sub to Fat Polo Man Jr.
Nice.
Thank you so much for that stuff.
It's a great username.
All right, so yeah, hop in this interest check, fill out the form if this is something you're into, or don't. It's your life. I don't control your life. You do whatever you want.
But if you are interested, you should have a look at the form, maybe.
You should. And speaking of things you should definitely look at. Holy crap! Here is the Keycult No.2, and what a board this is shaping up to be.
Wow. I don't have anything else to say. That's all I can say. Yeah, we've been waiting for this one for a while. We know we've had some teasers from Riot on Instagram before, which we've covered as a bit of a preliminary interest check. But this is the No.2 in full, and there's not only pictures of the board, but there's also a full video teardown. There's a build log, and there's now a new Discord that Riot set up as well for Keycult. So lots of new information. There's also information in there about how the seamless design works and how the screwless base works. It's all really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, guys, when you click on this link, make sure you watch the video teardown. It is totally worth it. It is fantastically done. It was truly a treat to watch this board be assembled and disassembled. It's really cool, like the entire design process behind it, like all the little details that they really pushed into this was really quite stunning.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. So just in terms of the specs, before we talk about Brian and my feelings on this board, it comes in wing keyless layout with blockers. That's the standard top. It's an 8-degree typing angle. It is isolation mount, exactly like the number 160 and 65. And if you want to have a look at that, I did build a number 160 on stream a couple of weeks ago. So go check out the VOD for that if you're interested to see what the internals look like. It's a seamless 3D contoured profile, but basically that means there's no top or bottom case to have a seam around the sides. It's all of the seams are hidden effectively in the design. It's completely constructed without visible external screws. So there's a really intuitive solution as to how they've accomplished that as well. A VIA or VIA compatible. Wilbur's designed the PCB for this with a USB-C daughter board, and it is completely compatible with all of that goodness. All kits include a keyboard chassis, a PCB, vibration dampening gaskets, feet, kit screws, and hex drivers as well. So it even includes the tools for you to be able to do the build as well. Yep. In terms of the options, there's 2 options. There's the classic stainless option, which is fully polished mirror shine bottom, which looks fantastic, with a red anodized plate. So it's an aluminium plate. And there's only 10 of these, so these are numbered uniquely through numbers 1 to 10 on the internal weight, which you can see in the images as well. It weighs 7 pounds 6 ounces, which is pretty hefty, but it does have a hefty price tag to match, which is $885.
$885. That is a doozy of a keyboard. But I mean, when you watch the teardown video and you see like all the really intricate stuff that they did for this board, the price really it starts to become pretty justifiable. Like, guys, seriously, watch the teardown video. We're not going to show it on stream, but just when you have a second after the show or whatever, watch the video. It's totally worth it. The other version they have is the Contemporary Red, which is the same kind of configuration, basically, except for in the bottom plate is going to be a red anodized base plate instead of the mirror polished stainless steel version. That one's quite a bit cheaper at $585, and it weighs 5 pounds 13 ounces, which is still pretty darn respectable for a TKL.
Yeah, it's pretty hefty. Yeah. So what do you think to the to this board then, Brian?
I mean, I'll never be able to afford either of them, and seeing how at least half of it's first come first serve, I'm probably never going to be able to own a board like this, but I think it looks really, really well done. And like I was saying, like the attention to detail is just really, really spot on in the video and in the build log. Even they have a little bit of a breakdown. Great pictures, high quality stuff here. Like just like all the cutouts. So like it's insane. I like how they did the seamless kind of thing and the.
We should talk about that actually. If you look at the very top series of images here, so the ones where they're first starting to take the teardown to task, you can see that effectively how the base plate's screwed on is it's actually screwed on through bolts on the internal side of the board, but you have actually reached through the PCB and the plate to hit those bolts, and as you unscrew those, the bottom of the board comes away. Which then allows you to access the internals, take the top and bottom piece apart, and access the PCB. So it's a really intuitive and ingenious way of making sure that all of the screws are internalized to the board. It does mean that undoing the case is going to be a little bit more involved than your standard TKL case, but I think that the design aspects and element of that makes up for it. And how often do we really take our boards apart once it's built? It's not something we need to do every day. Once it's built, it's on your desk, and this is just going to look really, really nice.
But I mean, the trade-off is like this picture right here. Like, look at this. That is so simple and so beautiful. You don't see any of the screws. So, like the way this is actually done is it's like a 4-piece design instead of a 3-piece design. So you have your top kind of housing, and then you have what they're calling the interior, which is kind of it's effectively the bottom of the keyboard. But then there's a base plate, which is a thinner metal here. That you can see here. This whole red part in this particular picture is the base plate, and that screws in through the switch plate. So you get a really, really clean, elegant look here, and I think that is just fantastic, man.
It is so nice. It's very reminiscent of the number 160 that when we had that on stream. The brass weight that was internalized is effectively how the bottom plate's used on this, or the the bottom piece is used on this. So it's a really, really intricate, complex, well-designed bit of kit that looks completely and utterly stunning. And you know, this is going to give other TKL boards like the Vern, the Jane, a massive run for their money, because it just looks so damn nice. And we haven't seen anything like this on the market yet. This is the first board that's come out with this kind of level of attention to detail, and it's completely reshaping, you know, what we think about is acceptable quality for boards at this kind of price level, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though I probably won't be able to get one, I'm still really stoked that it's actually happening.
Yeah,
this is just too good. Oops.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning as well. There's a lot of design sequences, like even when you look at the top of the inside of the plate, there's all sorts of like ridges and bumps on there to help with alignment and things like that into the bottom of the case internally. So this is going to fit together like a dream. It's not going to be difficult to build. It's not going to be, you know, hard to put together or to align or anything like that. It's just going to fit together nicely. The tolerances look great. I just can't speak highly enough of the look of this board. And I really, really want to see one in real life. That's
Yep. I can't wait till I go to a meetup and see one of these. I definitely want to take a crack at building one of these if I get the opportunity to, because it just looks so damn good. Yeah, so the way this is going to be ran is actually a little bit interesting. So the number 2 will be sold in 2 stages. One, first come, first served, which will be Sunday, April 21st at 6 p.m. EDT or 3 p.m. Pacific. Half of the kits will be available. The other half will be raffle style, immediately following, closing at 6 p.m. EDT the next day, April 22nd. So pretty quick time window here, guys. You guys are going to have to be ready to buy this if you want one of these. If you want to have a chance to get one of these, you got to be like really on the ball. So that'll be the other half available, including B stock. So maybe we'll get you know, some more units out there in the wild, maybe a little bit cheaper of a price tag on the B stock. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. And also on April 20th, on our friend Teha Types channel, Sir Nathan Kim, he will be doing a giveaway at 6:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific. So it'll probably happen towards the end of the stream, just like they say here. But yeah, if you want a chance to potentially win one of these in Contemporary Red, make sure you're checking out Teha Types on April 20th.
Yep, I think there'll be going to be a lot of people watching that stream. And then the final thing to call out on this page is right down at the very bottom underneath where where Bright talks about the Teha Types giveaway. There is also a little PS on here, which is really interesting, which says, "Number 2 isn't for you. This summer we'll make a return to the beginning." What would you make of that, Brian?
I don't. What is the beginning for Keycult? I don't know the Keycult lineage all that well. Is the number 1 the first board they did?
Yeah, so there was the number 1 TKL, which they did in collaboration with Type Machina and all of that kind of stuff that happened that we've talked about previously on the show. And then in January of this year, there was the number 160 and number 165. Now, I haven't asked Wright about this, but I do intend to, because I only just noticed this PS before the show. But I do want to reach out to him and see if they're going to rerun the original number 1, or if they're going to rerun the 60 and 65, or what the plans for there is. But Back to the Beginning tends to suggest that that's where they're going, unless there's something about Riot's past or one of the other guys within Keycult's past that we don't know about, that they've developed previously, and we're missing out. So you see, it is interesting.
The way I see it is, if you're going to add a little teaser like this, you're going to be bringing something in that's like new, something that's hype. And it might pay homage to something that happened before, but like, I feel like you wouldn't tease, you wouldn't write this if you were just doing another run of the number 1, right?
Yeah.
Not that the number 1 isn't an awesome board, because it is, but like, you know, it's already out there, so a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some people have already experienced it. It's not brand new. It's old news at this point, even though it's a cool product. But like, if you're going to make a teaser, you got to tease something upcoming that might be a little bit fresher, a little bit newer.
Maybe. I genuinely think it's going to be number 1, round 2. I think that's what it is going to be. If I was going to guess, that's what I'd stake my money on.
I mean, I think that might be the obvious answer. I'm just hoping for more at this point.
Yeah, maybe there will be. Maybe it'll be a 1.1 or a 1.2 device with some tweaks and changes. You know, who knows? But I'm definitely excited to see what else is coming, because Keycult, again, in terms of that upper end of the echelon of tiers in the community, you know, knocking it out of the park here, because this looks phenomenal. And I will be absolutely watching Nathan's build stream, because I really, really want to see what this is like. And yeah, I'll be excited to see that.
Yep, pretty awesome stuff, guys. So be on the lookout for this. Make sure you got your hands on your keyboard and mouse, and your third hand on your wallet, and your fourth hand somewhere we can't speak of.
Yeah,
then, maybe you'll actually have a chance. Sell your internal organs for this board, probably. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, whatever you have to do, guys, to get there. Yeah.
Yep, cool stuff. So we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully we can maybe get one of these like from a customer to build temporarily or something. That'd be kind of fun to show off on stream.
Yeah. A couple of people I've already had a conversation with saying, if you get one of these, I'll build it for you, and they'll be like, "Yep, that's fine." So I'm really excited to try and get hold of one, even if it's not mine and I can't keep it. I want to get hold of one just to see the thing, just to experience that build, because it looks absolutely phenomenal.
It really does. All right, guys, let's move on to our next topic. It's an interest check by Waterly for the Return 60% custom keyboard. Notice that custom is spelt with a K here. At least in the Western communities, this would imply that it is either a Korean designed and or a Korean manufactured keyboard. But I'm going to give this lady or gentleman, the benefit of the doubt and say, their English is not the greatest, and that might have actually just been a little typo. Because the first sentence here, he says, "This is Waterly from HK," which I'm assuming is Hong Kong, which is not Korea, last I checked. So, yeah, just keep that in mind when you're reading the wording for the custom with the K there. Anyways, this is the Return 60%, which is the follow-up to his last group buy, which was the Reborn 60%, which I thought was a pretty well-designed keyboard. I liked it quite a bit. And,
it was nice, yeah.
Yeah, and this is his newest project, which we don't really have a ton of renders for. We kind of just have basically 3 of the same render in different colors. So we don't really have a ton to go on here in this thread, but we do have a couple things to go on still. So in this run, he definitely wants to give polycarbonate a try. Definitely, it's what he's saying here. PVD silver and PVD gold. Once they finally find a factory for it, I'm assuming he means on brass and or steel parts. I would assume that the aluminum parts will still be anodized. The white color will not be anodized, which probably leads us to believe that it'll be E-white electrophoresis. Could be powder coat or Cerakote, but chances are it's probably going to be E-coating. It will be top mount, and that's about all we know.
Looking at the design, there's a couple of interesting things that I note from this. So what it's quite clear about is that the plate also has kind of the top case that sits inside the bottom case, so it's kind of like encapsulated. The top goes inside the bottom, which is why we have this this kind of thin, darker bezel around the outside for the actual bottom case, and then we have kind of an internal bezel for the actual layout, depending on whether you've chosen HHKB, wing keyless, or standard 60%. So that's quite interesting. I don't think we've seen an inserted top case like that before, so that's quite interesting.
No, HB85 does that.
Oh, does it? Okay,
does,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, no, you're right. It does, but it does it in a very different style.
This is obviously a little bit simpler. But this is kind of cool though. I like this approach because you can kind of start to customize the colors. Hopefully, if he lets you do that, which I would hope he would. That way, you can kind of have like this outer case, inner case color contrast, and maybe some kind of accent with your plate. Because judging by the polycarbonate version here, I imagine the plate and the insert are separate. So that way you can kind of customize multiple areas of this board in terms of color, which should be pretty cool, honestly. I think it's a fun design, and it seems pretty playful, and hopefully we can get the price down low enough. I think his last group buy, the Reborn 60%, was pretty well priced, if I recall. So let's hope this one is as well.
Yeah, I think looking at it, looks like the as you say, the polycarbonate one gives us the most clues to how this board is mounted and things like that. So I think it looks like it's going to be sandwich or top, depending on how that's how relayed. I don't think he actually specifies specifically how he's going to do it in here.
He does say it's top mount.
Okay.
Again, a lot of the wording can be up for debate because his English doesn't seem that great. So, you know, we don't really know anything final, but this is just kind of what he's given us to go on so far. But presumably he knows what top mount means, and this is going to be top mount.
Yeah, you can't see any top mount tabs on the polycarbonate. I'm wondering if it's just a case of you put the plate in the PCB in, and then the top insert goes in around that and sandwiches it in place. I think that'd be the simplest way to do this board. But yeah, let's wait and see how it comes when he gets to it. I know he's doing some prototypes at the minute, so I'll be interested to see what they turn out like.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully this gets updated and goes into group buy format eventually. But he does have a form, of course, just like most interest checks tend to have, where you can fill out down here if this is something you're actually interested in.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that the side profile looks reminiscent of the old Revo boards. I'm not sure how I feel about the side profile view. I'm not sure if I like that or not, but it does make it easier to pick the board up with that little finger grip under there.
Yeah, it's fine. It's clean. It's simple. That's about what I have to say on it. Yeah, I'd like to see the bottom as well, because it looks like there's some kind of weight system too, judging by the polycarbonate version.
Yeah, it looks like you can see that oval kind of weight on the bottom. Yeah, but there isn't any actual picture of it or details of what that looks like.
Yep, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, speaking of waiting and seeing, we have another topic up here. I see interest check going on for GMK Analog Dreams by P. Wade 3 or Pwade. I never know how to pronounce his name, but
P. Wade, I think it is. Yeah,
is it P. Wade? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Anyways, he's got a very beautiful render here of GMK Analog Dreams, and it's a very interesting looking set. I think we need more pastel sets on the market, I think, personally.
Yeah, I think that's fair, yeah. Pastel colours are very summery, they're very light, they're very in right now for a lot of other technologies, so it's something we should see adopted within the keyboard community, and especially within key sets as well. In terms of this particular key set, it says the alpha base color is L9, while all of the other colors that you see within the set are specifically designed from Pantones that he's selected. He will be getting Pantone chips to check and make sure if the set runs that he can accommodate that with GMK and make sure they get the colors as close as possible. So he's very interested in doing that. It's also worthwhile calling out as well that P. Wade did the GMK Taro key set, which I've actually got above me here somewhere there. You can probably just see that. So I have faith in him achieving the colours because the Taro ones are quite difficult to do, and he managed to do that. These look, again, quite difficult to do, especially with the Pantones, but he's got that experience, so it looks quite good. The base kit's pretty large.
There's very large.
Lot of compatibility in there. There's everything from numpad, which we don't often see anymore, to UK-specific ISO, which, again, we don't see a lot. Multiple options for arrow keys, HHKB 60%, 65%, 1800 support. I can see a lot of different support in there. I think some 40s as well would be covered by a lot of these keys too. So there's a lot of compatibility and options within that base kit.
Yeah. In fact, I'd even say to the point of worrisome, as this could be a very expensive GMK set just because they're trying to do so much compatibility in the base kit. Obviously, this is an interest check. Nothing is solidified yet. Nothing is concrete. But if they do decide to run the base kit with this many keys, it's going to be one of the more expensive GMK sets on the market, I feel like.
Yeah, it's actually really similar to what the Taro base set was like as well. And that wasn't particularly expensive. It wasn't kind of into Lime sort of prices, GMK Lime sort of prices, but it wasn't, it wasn't $100 key set. It was up there. I think it was about $140, $150. So it's not going to be one of the cheaper sets as we've seen, but it is one of those sets that'll cater for pretty much any board you might have or may have in the future as well. So you're not going to be worried about compatibility going forwards if you decide to change your board in the future. There's also an additional kit which has an extra B for those Alice users and space bars and everything else goodness as well. And then the final kit, which hasn't been nominated as yet, is the novelties, which are being done by Outrage Pudding, who's the top Clack current designer as well. And Outrage Pudding also did the designs for the novelties for Taro, so he's very experienced in coming up with Keycap designs. And they're hoping to run through this through NovelKeys with additional proxies for the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, I think the set looks pretty good personally. I know a lot of people have kind of been saying that it's kind of like a riff or a variation of Hyperfuse. And, like, I suppose I can kind of see that, but it really does look different enough, personally, to me.
I mean, I'd counter it by saying there's been that many different variations of Hyperfuse,
right,
no matter what set you use. If you've got purple in your set, it's gonna, or teal or something, it's gonna kind of look like a Hyperfuse set in some way, shape, or form. So, I whilst I get that kind of criticism of it, I think it's completely unfounded in this case. I think this is different enough.
People in chat saying whiter fuse, hyper muted, Easter fuse. Oh, come on, guys! Just because it involves purple does not mean that it's a Hyperfuse set.
Agree, and it's a very different purple to in any other Hyperfuse set as well. So, yeah, I think I'm mixed on this. Half the time I look at this and I really like it, and then other times I look at it and think I'm not sure I like it at all. And I think it's entirely going to depend on what board this goes on ultimately. I really like that first render where the colours are quite sharp and you can see the board from the top. The second render where you see the same board from a different angle and the colours look slightly different because the light's different. I don't like it in that one there, so I'm really mixed on this one in terms of my personal opinion. I think the actual set and the idea behind the set is really good. Pastel, big tick, vaporwave, big tick. You know, those are two big things in the common aesthetic at the moment. So I'm interested to see more renders on this one. What would it look like on a dark board, for example? What would it look like on a purple board or some sort of coloured board, or maybe even a polycarbonate board or something like that as well?
Yeah, I'd like some more renders. I think the renders are high quality here, but I think it'd be nice to have some more. That's kind of like we've been spoiled lately by like Zombumon sets like being rendered, like Oblatsky sets, like Wilbur stuff, whatever. Like there's tons and tons and tons of renders on like 1,000 different boards from different angles, and you really start to get a feel for it. So I feel like when we only have like 1 or 2 renders to go off of, like on the same board, it's not really like doesn't really give you as much play as we would hope for.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see more options and see what's in. I mean, the renders are amazing on this. Actually, they're being done by Jan, and the renders are really good quality. We just need more of them, and it'd be really good to get a render of that base kit as well. I know that Jan usually does layout renders, and I'd kind of like to see that whole base kit rendered as well. So I've just been scrolling down the comments, and P-Wade does actually say that there's only one additional cap here compared to what was in GMK Taro, and that hits 250 MOQ at $155, so he's hoping to keep the price around the same.
Okay, that'd be pretty fair.
Yeah, I think if this came out at $155, I'd probably be tempted to pick up a set. I think for that kind of compatibility in the base kit, that kind of price is pretty fair. Be interested to see how that changes and shapes over the coming weeks and months as he develops that kit further, though.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so keep your eyes on this. It looks like it's most likely going to be coming to Group Buy in the near future.
Okay, and moving on then to our next topic. Another key set. So this is DSA Scientific. So DSA instead of GMK profile. I think all we've talked about for the past few weeks is GMK this and GMK that. So it's nice to have something a little bit different to talk about. But DSA Scientific. So this is being designed by Voodoo 6K. It's inspired by the legendary Texas Instruments, the TI calculator. So if any of you have ever studied maths or science or anything like that, you'll remember you had these old graphical calculators where you could do graphing and curving and things like that as well. So it's based on those and the original colours of the keys from those, with some unique deep teal colours added on for accents. One of the big things that I like about this set is things like the E key replaced by the Greek letters for it as well, so the mathematical constants. So you've got pi, E, I can't remember what that one is, but you've got theta, which is the golden ratio, and H bar as well. So all sorts of other things, which is for Planck constant. Really getting into that geeky scientific kind of feel, which I really like. I think they look good. In terms of kits, you've got the base kit for the alphas, you've got the base kit for the TKL and specialty, which gives you a couple of layout options. That's going to be the minimum you're going to have to pick up, but then you can expand on that with ortho and 40% numpad, novelties kits, ISO support, Nord support, and Colverac homing bar support as well. So there's all sorts of kits. Again, with DSA, this has been run by Signature Plastics. So they've got all of those kits as standard, and they'll be able to achieve those. What do you think of this, Brian? Do you like it?
I think it looks pretty nice. It's I'm not in love with it, but it's good. It's a good set. It's well thought out. The Group I is well designed. I think it's they got it running through the Key Company. Awesome stuff. They got proxies. Cool. They have a pretty good kit breakdown. I like it's not too ridiculous. It's not one of those DSA sets that has like 300,000 different kits. Like these are all pretty well thought out. So I like it. I'm probably not going to buy it, but I like it.
Okay, it's probably worthwhile calling out as well that this is a double shot ABS DSA set, not a die-sub DSA PBT set from SP as well. So it will be a nice ABS plastic over the PBT, depending on whether you like that or not is individual. I think the renders look good though. There's lots of renders on this one across a variety of different boards, including the Prime E, which I know you're looking forward to building as well. There's a render on there of that. I think it looks really good on the smaller boards. I think it really suits them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, DSA is kind of one of those things that's a lot more accessible to people that are using sub 60% boards with kind of odd layouts, because since they're it's a flat profile, you don't really need to match any kind of row profiles. You can kind of just put keys wherever you want, and it makes sense. So DSA definitely a favorite on those smaller profile boards, and it does look nice. The last picture he has it on an HHKB, which I thought was kind of funny. Usually you don't see key sets rendered on a legitimate HHKB, or what is supposed to be.
It does look
good. So pretty cool.
Yeah, okay, so the group buy is open from the April 10th, so it's open now and open till May the 10th. So if you're interested, drop by Key.company, Yak Shop for Canada, MyKeyboard.eu for Europe, or Z Frontier for Asia.
Yep. Awesome stuff. All right, next up, we're going back to the GMK train. Interest check for GMK Urban Jungle with fixed renders by Pingu, I think is how that's supposed to be said. And
Pingu,
Yep. And so this is a pretty interesting looking set. I do like this quite a bit, just because it tends to be kind of that more muted, subdued look that I like a lot.
Sure, yeah. I did think you'd like this when I saw this. I was talking to Pingu about the set a couple of days ago. And I did, the first person I thought of was Brian's going to like this because it's green, and Brian thinks everything's green.
Ouch!
And I know you really like those kind of muted kind of sets as well. So well, you've been looking at GMK Green Tea for a while. I know you considered running it yourself and things. So it's kind of this is almost like muted green tea in some ways. I see it as it's kind of like a subdued pastel green tea set. But I think it really fits that Urban Jungle name. I'm
going to really reinforce my colorblindness by saying the last picture in this thread, this render, reminds me a lot of the GMK Tactical or whatever that we covered a while back by, I think it was Zombumon. And I think on stream I said it was green or whatever, but it was like brown. And everyone just completely exploded and wrecked me. So.
Yeah, they're going to do the same again because
that's fine. I'm used to it
those
now.
Two renders, right? If you look at GMK Tactical, it's like looking at the desert. Yeah, it's like looking at sand. You look at this one, that last one with the mono mods. That's like looking at the forest or like a subdued forest. It is so different.
Yeah.
It's so different.
Well, try being colorblind, then maybe you'll know what it's like to be me.
Man, I feel sorry for you. I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Everyone should feel sorry for me. Just kidding, don't feel sorry. It's like when people on like my typing test videos on YouTube, like, because I have, I'm sure you get this a lot too, since both of us have a very abnormal typing style. People
how you put that in.
People just bash on us all the time, like, how do you type like that? You're wasting your life. Like, people get so serious and so aggressive about it. It's like, holy crap.
I've had ones about your wife can't be happy if that's how you use your fingers and stuff like that. So I've had lots of comments about my typing.
That's awesome. But like at this point, like I don't even want to change because it pisses people off so much it's almost comical.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the set.
Back to the key set. Yeah, back to the key set. So Pinky's been looking at this key set for a while. He did have some renders up early on, but he's kind of tweaked them to get them back to these stock colors. So it is a stock color GMK set. So if this does run, which I hope it does, it should be quite easy for GMK to do because it's all of their stock colors. There's nothing out of the ordinary for them to produce. I do like the colours. I think they work well. One thing that I really like is the black accent keys that really highlight the grey and the green. Just having one strong colour with two muted colours works really, really well on this set. One addition I'd like to see for that is a black enter key for the numpad, because that's not there at the minute. It's only got the grey option. But I think if you're going to have the black enter and escape key for the standard TKL layout for both ANSI and ISO, I would like to see that enter key there for the numpad as well. But I even like the mono mods here as well, having the whole green set. I think that looks really, really good. So yeah, I really like this. Last thing I wanted to talk about on this as well, he says being an ISO DE user, he'd really like to have a Norder UK kit. I again would support that because he is German. He wants to be able to use his particular layout for him. I know we don't traditionally get Norder UK kits to MOQ. But for someone who's running it in their own country, it'd be really nice for him to be able to run this and have that kind of kit option as well available to him.
You mean to tell me that the designer of this key set wants to be able to use his own key set?
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised at how many. So it's one of the things we get for EU people when we run keyset designs. Oh, you've put Norder UK keys in there or something like that. It's like, yeah, that's because I use them from that country. And then the feedback that you typically get is yeah, but your country doesn't matter because no one's going to buy it from there. Everyone's going to buy it from the USA. So you should only cater to the USA. That's kind of in gist. I'm making it an extreme example there. That's kind of the gist of the feedback that you get. But I do think we should support makers getting the stuff that they want to be able to use. He's making this set for himself, not just for everybody else. Therefore, I'd really like to see the support of him being able to have the keys that he needs available to make the set for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep an eye out on this. Still an interest check, of course, but make sure to show your support if this is your kind of key set. I think it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, I do too. I think in some respects I actually prefer this to GMK Green Tea, just because it is that muted kind of element to it.
Yeah, certainly. Speaking of things that are not muted, we have our next interest check, which is DSA Magic Girl, done by Mint Lodica. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce that. And this is a pretty simple cut and dry interest check open right now. One render, not a ton of info, but it's kind of just a pastel Magic Girl vibe. If you're unfamiliar what the Magic Girl kind of culture is. I'm not exactly an expert either, but I'm assuming this kind of pertains to magical girl style anime, which is quite literally just little girls with magic powers, basically.
Okay, I've never seen the anime. I didn't Google it either. If you click on the Twitter link as well, Brian, there's a lot more. There's a bit of a breakdown if you scroll through that of how she's come up. It's kind of almost like a build log of the idea as to where she's got from. And there's alternate kits and all sorts of different novelties and things in there. So there's a fair chunk of information that's actually within this Twitter feed that's not on the interest check, and I'd kind of like to see it all together. There's a lot of renders and pictures and things that she's got there. It would make more sense to have it all within the IC. That's one piece of feedback I would give, rather than having to go through multiple links to get to all of the different images.
You got to have it in the all-in-one thread. You can't just link to Twitter.
Yeah, the Twitter's a weird way of doing it. I get it from how you're building it. I get that's how she's working, but
I hate playing the bad guy. But you gotta put this in the thread.
Yeah, even an Imager album would have been better than having to go through the Twitter feed. That being said, there is an awful lot of information here. She's got all different kind of kits. I'm assuming it's a she. I may be wrong, but he or she has got all sorts of different kits with novelties and different designs. I assume from the show. There's also ergo docs, ISO, Planck, Levinson options. There's lots of different kits to support all sorts of stuff.
Oh, is this is this like a Sailor Moon set? Is Sailor Moon actually the full theme of this set, or is it? I thought it was more of like a broad magical girl kind of thing. But if this is strictly Sailor Moon, I think that makes a little bit more sense.
Pass. I don't profess to know anything on that kind of side of things.
That was more of a question for chat, because chat would probably know, even though we don't.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not sure on that, but I think the design looks nice. The colors kind of work well together. It's not a set for me. I don't think. I think I much prefer the aesthetic of the GMK set Analog Dreams that we looked at before. But from what I can tell, from what I can see, the source material, she's done quite a lot of justice to it. It seems nice. Some of the novelties designs are really cute and intricate, and I kind of like that. I think she just needs to get all of this information into the interest check so that people can see it a little bit easier and make a decision easier.
Yeah, I want to see some more renders. I think that this set has a lot of potential. I think this set could look amazing, but it's hard because we only have one render, basically. It's just off kbrenders.com, which is functional, but it's not going to be on the same level of, professionalism, accuracy, and color matching as, like, a Zombie-Mon render, a Blatsky render, Youngblood render, something like that. So I'd like to see some nicer renders on a bunch of different boards from different angles, maybe in different lighting, so we can kind of get a feel for how the set might actually perform in the real world. But I do think the potential is there for this.
Yeah, sure. I can see the potential. I know there's a lot of people that are interested in these kind of shows and things. So whilst it's outside of my zone of comfort to talk about knowledgeably, yeah, I can completely get that there'll be a lot of backing for this kind of thing. And from what I can tell of the designs look good. So as long as they're accurate to the source material, I think they'll do really well.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Speaking of things we should start to keep an eye on is Jay's new upcoming favorite set. So this is an interest check for a Keyset concept called After School 1992. This is a set by Norbauer, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. So we haven't seen a set from him in a little bit. And he is really, really pushing the 90s nostalgia theme of this set. So he has a ton of different pictures that if you are a child from the 90s, like Jay and myself are, some of this might seem very, very nostalgic to you, and I think that's obviously what he's going for. So,
yeah.
This is quite interesting. He doesn't have any quote-unquote professionally done renders yet. He kind of has this mock-up, which kind of gives you a vague idea.
And I think that's because it is just an idea at the minute that he's experimenting with, toying with. But this has so much nostalgia and memories for me being a kid. I mean, I was born in the 80s, and the early 90s was when I was watching some of my favorite TV shows, and just the whole feel of this, it just brings back so many memories from that kind of period of my life. And even though I'm not particularly fond of any of the colors, I remember when all of these colors and all of this kind of look and feel to stuff was, that was how things were. That's how you saw things on TV. That's how that's how all the toys you had as a child were. There's a picture of a calculator in there. I literally had that calculator in primary school. I remember having that in all kindergarten as for you guys in America. I remember having a calculator that looked almost identical to that. So it brings back all of those memories, and they're good memories about enjoying stuff and liking stuff and remembering, sharing it with friends and all that kind of stuff. So it is really emotive to me, is this set. And if it had just been the picture of the Keyset at the end, I wouldn't have paid it much more attention than the fact that it's Norbauer, and he's one of the kind of pioneers of the.
But we know Norbauer is all about that attention to detail, and he really wants everyone to know the theme and the theory, the whole design process behind everything he does. That's one thing that Norbauer does insanely well, to the minute detail. And so he's really pushing that hard here, and I like that. I remember so much of this stuff, man. Rocco's Modern Life, Bubble Tape. I owned this Super Soaker. I had the XP105. I remember this. This is like summer in the mid to late 90s for me.
Yeah. He's just, I mean, it just reminds me so much of my childhood and watching TV with friends and things like that, and flicking around on cable, and there's all of the stickers at the top. You used to see them in shows. They'd come up on the screen during Saved by the Bell. You'd have things like that pop up. It's just so emotive and so so taking me back to my childhood. But as I say, if it had just been a picture of the Keyset, I probably wouldn't have been that interested. It's the fact that he's built this story, he's built this emotive language just by pasting a few pictures that he's clearly curated from the internet, that just reminds him of that kind of period and what the kind of colors were and what kind of things we had. And There's probably no one that isn't in their late 20s, early 30s that doesn't look at that and think, do you know what? I remember that being on TV, or I remember that, you know, water pistol or whatever it is. You're going to see something there and absolutely remember it. And one of my favourite things as well, so he says it would obviously come in an elaborate trapper-style folding box with fun things like a custom slap wrap. Do you remember those things, Brian, that you used to slap on your wrist?
Slap bracelets,
yeah. You know, just stuff like that. Yeah, it takes me back to my childhood. I'd buy this on nostalgia factor alone, even if I didn't like the Keyset, I think.
Yeah, you know, he does seem to want to push the DSA double shot thing. He seems to be kind of someone that enjoys DSA quite a bit, so it looks like this is, if it does come to be, this is probably going to be a double shot DSA set. So, you know, that could be good or bad depending on who you are. But either way, I want to see some renders, man. Give me some renders. There's so many people in the community doing good renders nowadays that, like, it's not too hard to get a hold of. So hopefully we can see that in an upcoming update.
Well, this is one of the things I was going to talk about, actually. See, a lot of the times we'll talk about what things should be in an IC, like we talked a few minutes ago about how the runner should use her Twitter feed and get all of those images into the IC. But I think that this is part of Norbauer's master plan, to be honest. And he's a clever guy. He knows how people work. What he's done is he's given us all of this nostalgia and said, I'm going to do something in this kind of space. Look at all this stuff that you remember from your childhood. Look at all this stuff you remember from your, you know, older siblings' childhood and things that you might have had handed down to you and all of that kind of stuff, or things that you've seen on repeats and all of these toys and stuff. I'm going to do something that kind of. So he's building up a story that he's going to walk us through it over time, and he's going to say, now I've got this into your head. This is the set. This is how it's developing. Here's some more snazzy images of stuff that you remember. And I reckon he's already got a folder on his computer that's just full of curated images that will remind us of all of this stuff. And I think he's doing it as in that kind of whole, taking us on the journey rather than just giving us everything at once.
Yeah,
he's building the story.
Yeah, that could very well be. I mean, Norbauer is 100% one of the smartest and just most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. Sitting down and talking with him is always a treat. So I think that you could totally be right here. I don't think it's something that slipped his mind, per se. It's more like, you know, he's just giving us a little tease, just a tip, if you will.
Yeah, and if you scroll down through the through the industry track, he actually posts more and more images of things like cars that were covered in all that kind of vaporwave aesthetic and old gaming pads and things like that. So he is slowly drip feeding information into this chat and into this discussion. They're quite a way down, Brian. You should get some.
Yeah, I'm scrolling.
So he's taking us on that journey. He's using the whole kind of you know, journey to take us on that kind of experience to define the theme. I think it's pretty genius as this, to be honest. The more people get to see this thread, the better, I think.
Yeah, very interesting. We'll have to see where this goes. Definitely. Talisman Solutions gifting us tier 1 sub to CLDSKT. Thank you very much for that. He's up to 118 gifted subs on the channel. Wow. Holy crap. Thank you so much, Talisman.
That's crazy. Thank you, Talisman. We genuinely appreciate the support, as always. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, moving back over to the GMK side of things, because GMK, man, too strong. Just too strong,
GMK's
apparently.
Good.
Yeah, yep. GMK is good. There's no getting around that. Whether it's good or bad on this set, we'll have to kind of leave up for debate. But this is GMK Darkskel, or Darkskull. I don't know where the emphasis on that word is supposed to be.
Darkskel, yeah. I think it's supposed to be Dark Skeletor, basically. So if everyone remembers the GMK, and I think they ran it in DSA as well, Skeletor set that was all cyan and teal colours and pinks and things. This is the dark version of that key set, or the Knights version, as we sometimes term them in the community. So it's a full-on GMK kit. It's got a lot of compatibility in there. It's $150, so it's on the more expensive side, but that's kind of Originative's model. When they when they start a group buy, they usually make sure that these sets get made, and they kind of take that risk of buying out to MOQ to make sure the set's in stock to sell later on. So the price is a little bit on the high side, but the base kit's fairly well rounded. It's got numpad, it's got UK ISO support, it's got a lot of support for different bottom row options, 60% HHKB, so 65% HHKB. You know, lots of different support within that. It's also got an add-on pack, which is the line accents, which give you some additional keys that kind of support the set. I am a little bit worried about those alphas, though. What do you think, Brian?
I think
again?
I think everyone should be at least a little bit worried about these alphas. I mean, the last time we tried to do a set with kind of like a deep purple on a dark gray or black keycap, it didn't really turn out that well. I know, GMK Violet Tendencies is a really good example here. A lot of people still like the set. It was still a nice set. Fine. Totally get it. But you can't argue that the contrast on the mods with the purple and the dark gray or black or whatever it was just... It was just off, and it was too hard to see, and I think that this might suffer the same fate. I hope it doesn't.
I agree.
But, I mean, even in the renders, the contrast is pretty rough. And usually the contrast is, like, way better in renders than the real thing.
Agree. Yeah, I think it is my worry that, and it's not that I don't think they'll get the colours right. I think they will. I just think that those colours, when you've got them in real life on plastic rather than on your screen, and you've got light sources from different angles, I think it's going to be really, or potentially really difficult to see those legends. I do think it's going to be like Violet Tendencies, where the mods were almost illegible in certain lights, and you had to really kind of angle your lighting to get them to show it well in pictures and photographs and in real life. So that is my worry with this set. In terms of the colours are colours you've seen everywhere before, so there's nothing new. We've seen darks and cyans and purples together as well, but I kind of get that it follows that Skeletor theme, but just on with the dark twist to it. But it does worry me a little bit. Does that?
The contrast is very worrying. With that said, I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think it looks bad. I'm not sure if it's one for me. I think the next originator set we're going to talk about is more my kind of bag. But I think it looks as good as a dark Skeletor could do. It's not unattractive at all. I think you're right. It's just that worry for me that the contrast is going to be too low to be able to perceive those alphas accurately.
Yeah, and so $150 gets you the base kit, which I think is it's reasonable enough. It's expected from Oko. But the compatibility is not too bad.
It's that business model, right? They buy out these sets. So there's two things that they do. They don't really run interest checks. They just tend to run the set that they want to run and that they're confident that the community will like, with a base kit that they pick and choose. And then they buy it out to capacity if it doesn't meet the MOQ in the group buy stage, and then they sell them later on. So they're taking on board that risk themselves that they may not make their money back, or that there's a large upfront fee to pay to GMK to get the set made. So I kind of appreciate the price from that perspective. The base kit's fairly large. If the P-Wade set that we looked at earlier on has a base kit that's around the same sort of price like Zara was, I think you get a lot more for your money with that set. But again, it's not always about the keys that you get. Sometimes it's about the set itself. So I think it's respectable, but it's touching the high side for this particular base kit.
Yeah, certainly. So this is a group buy. It starts 6 days ago and it ends on the 26th, so you got about 2 weeks left to decide if this is something that you want. And with that, since we can pretty easily roll into the next one, because the next one's the exact same kind of format here. So this is another group buy by Originative, another GMK set called Sky Modo. Same price, same base kit, if I'm not mistaken, and same duration of group buy. So
So this one's a little bit different. This is a reimagining of what was Sky Dolch. So this is turning the Sky Dolch into a little bit more of a darker set again, and using black mods and dark grey alphas instead of the traditional Dolch colorway, but with the same cyan for the keys. It's a little bit of a tweak to an existing set, and I know that Sky Dolch has had a lot of love over the years. I think it's had a couple of rounds run now, but I think this one's more for me. I quite like this. I use Sky Dolch quite a lot on my builds. It's one of my favourite key sets, so I think I prefer this one to the previous one. And this one's not going to have any issues with contrast on the legends and readability, I think it's going to be much clearer because we've seen these kind of colors in a lot of sets before.
Yeah, no doubt this set will probably not suffer any contrast issues. At the risk of further nailing in my color blindness, does this feel like Solarized Dark with like colorized mods, kind of?
No, so the Solarized Dark Alphas are kind of like a dark bluish tealy color, very similar to the color we saw on DSA Scientific with a bit more blue in them earlier on those mods. These are very much grey, so it's so the alphas are very different. The mods are similar to Solarized Dark, though. The mods are quite similar. I think the standard mod kit for Solarized Dark was the right,
I do it just so you guys get a kick out of it now, just by the way. I know you guys like to make fun of me for it, so I like to give you the opportunity. Poor Brian. I know, right? My eyes.
Yeah.
Can someone run a group buy for better eyes, please?
Yeah. GMK keycaps that Brian can read when.
One of these days, man. One of these days. Everyone wonders why I like sets like black and white.
Yeah, you know that's green, right?
What? No.
Okay.
Anyways, it does look pretty good, and it does have same, like I said earlier, same timeline, same price, same base kit as Darkskel, which we just talked about. So
yeah.
Make sure to hop in on that if you're into it.
I think it'll do okay. I think both of them will do okay, to be honest. There's going to be people that like both, so I think they'll do just fine, and I can't see these not being in stock later on if you want to get them as well.
Yeah.
Titan says GMK Quakeham's green. Yeah, we need to make that a thing.
Yep. Get on that, guys. GMK colorblind. Let's go. All right, so now moving out of the realm of key sets and onto some other kind of aspect of news. We have
this is a little bit different as this one.
This is really interesting. So this is an interest check for modernized OTD PCBs and reproduction plates by user Kawasaki161 from Germany. So this is pretty interesting, right? So the idea here is that OTD PCBs are, let's just say, not good by today's standards, because OTD, enjoyed a lot of success, a lot of attention back in 2008, 2009, 2010, when OTD was the big name designer. And, we still have a lot of these boards on the market. OTD boards tend to fetch a really high price in the aftermarket just due to their rarity in construction. They're pretty cool boards, but by today's standards, the PCBs in particular are incredibly out of date. They use like an internal hand-wired PS2 protocol cable. They didn't even use USB. Stuff like that. It was kind of a nightmare by today's standards. So this guy wants to put out new PCBs for the OTD TKLs that'll be a little bit more modern. You'll have USB. You'll have all that good stuff to kind of bring it into the modern age. He also wants to do a new plate, but the plate I think is going to be more just like he says, reproduction. It's not necessarily going to be a whole lot changing, because the plates on OTDs were kind of already ahead of their time, honestly, and we're starting to see a lot of the structure like relief cuts and stuff resurface on a lot of new products in the market. So this is pretty interesting. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it is really interesting, and you're right that there's a lot of stuff that the OTD boards were way ahead of the time on that we're starting to pull back to. I think we've seen that with a lot of different boards, and this is kind of probably going to bring that to the forefront a little bit. But I think it's a good thing. I think this is actually Kaklappen from Discord. I think that's his username on Discord. But it's something that people have been crying out for a while for. A lot of the OTD boards, the PCBs do fail, or they're not compatible with modern computers because they're all PS2, or they've been desoldered and resold that many times that they've got jumpers all over them and things like that. As you said, these are probably boards and PCBs that are 10 years old now currently. That being said, just to play devil's advocate on this, is there enough OTD boards out there that need a replacement PCB for this to make a viable group buy? That would be my worry on this side.
That's why I think the sponsor GIF was kind of like frozen. I don't know for how long, but thanks again, OVS. I just fixed it. Sorry, guys. But that's the real question, right? Like, are you going to be able to sell enough PCBs and/or plates to make this worth it?
Yeah.
And the answer is probably no, honestly. But we don't know what kind of like MOQ this guy is hoping for. There could be 5, 10, 15, maybe even 25 people out there that are like, hey, like I could use the replacement PCB, sure, why not? But I mean, I think a lot of people are probably just totally fine with what they have. One thing he does mention is with the plates, in particular, he might consider different materials and layouts. So that could be something that's kind of interesting to a lot of people. There will be an Alps version as well, so that depending on what you're into, that could be totally cool as well. So.
Yeah. I think it's really good, and I think it's nice to keep these boards alive because they have been such a big part of the community for such a long time. You know, people have been really interested in OTD boards, and that's why they command such a high price. There's not massive numbers of them out there, and a lot of them aren't in Western people's hands. A lot of them are still within, you know, the Korea and the Eastern kind of communities. So I think it is really good. I think it's the right thing to do. I'd expect the prices might be a little bit higher than what we'd expect from a normal group buy, purely because numbers are going to be low. I suspect, you know, PCBs, it's usually 5 is the MOQ for when you go to a lot of the manufacturers. So I think that'll be fine. He'll just buy 5, even if he only sells 2 or 3. I guess, you know, it's going to be interesting. But he does make an interesting point. Some of the original PCBs have been trading for high 3-figure sums, which is quite shocking when you think about this from a community perspective. You know, an OTD board's quite a rare thing. It's an expensive thing in the first place, but when people have had a spare PCB, to put it up there for hundreds of dollars is quite insane when you think about it, when the PCB probably only cost $20 or $30 to make in its original run. So, you know, it is nice that he's trying to address the issue. I guess the question is there going to be that many people out there that want to take, you know, advantage of this offer?
Yeah. I feel like there's going to be a handful of people that are going to be in love with this.
Oh, for sure.
And they might even buy 2 or, you know, 3 or 5 by themselves.
And I guess the other thing as well is I don't own an OTD. I've had the pleasure of using a couple, but I've never owned one. But I think if I did own one, even if I didn't plan on using the PCB, I would probably buy one just in case, because I'd be using a 10-year-old board that has no other option for me to fix if the PCB did go. So when this came up, even if I didn't plan on using it, or if I hadn't intended on changing the board in any way, shape, or form, I'd probably grab one just to make sure I had that future compatibility.
Yeah, and like you had mentioned, people selling or, you know, trading or whatever PCBs and the value of hundreds of dollars. You know, if you're going to even come close to that much money, why not just design your own PCB? It'll cost way less. I mean, sure, it'll take time, but I mean, someone in the community might design it for you. But that's kind of what this guy is doing himself. He's taking it upon himself to kind of just do it all. And I appreciate it. I applaud him for it.
Yeah, there's going to be a handful of people that buy a lot of these, you know, just to make sure they've got spare stock. I know there's a couple of people out there that collect OTD boards and have 4 or 5 of them. So if they buy 2 or 3 PCBs for each board that they've got, you know, it could be 5 or 10 PCBs in total. So I'm interested to see how this goes. I think it's really good thing for the community to keep all these old historic boards alive, and I fully support him. And I hope he gets the numbers he needs.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to a topic that is near and dear to your heart. This is the interest check for the Isotope-NE, a single ISO enter key macro pad. So tell us about this beauty, this gem of a macro pad, Jay.
So as you can see, guys, it's a single key macro pad that uses an ISO enter key, including stabilizer, and has a single key PCB for it as well. It's going to be in stock on Canon Keys, which is run by the lovely UPads. And there's a bit of a history about this. So Tez and I got drunk playing video games one day, and we joked about this. And then the next day he sent me some renders, and then a couple of days later he was talking to UPads, and they sent me a PCB file layout, like a printout from a PCB file. And then the next thing I know, it's got an interest check, and it's actually turning into a real thing. So it's kind of gone from 0 to 60 super quick. But you know, you guys all know me. You know, I build my boards ISO because that's my preference, to the chagrin of the community. But I think this is just really a good idea in general. First of all, it's a macropad that's a single key. That's got a ton of uses, on-off switches, things like that. Anyone who doesn't build their boards ISO and builds ANSI, you've got a lot of ISO keys lying around doing nothing. You might as well have a use for it, right? You know, this is that use. This is that use. You've now got a macropad, and which you can use it for. So yeah.
Brickcube says ANSI support.
I think actually, if you check in the in there, I was the first person to comment on this. So I commented on the thread and I said, "Why not ANSI?" You know, just because I get like using ISO all the time. Now, the interesting thing is the stabilizer and the keycap and the key switch orientation. You could put an ANSI enter on there if you wanted to, or even a numpad enter key.
True, it would just. It would look a little strange, yeah.
But you could do it.
So, is this supposed to be like a face on the back of it, where the USB port is, and these two little circular cutouts? Is this supposed to be like a surprised Pikachu, like emote kind of thing?
I don't. I think it's supposed to be the kind of the well kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, judging by these renders, these little circular cutouts don't do anything.
No, they don't. So originally, in the very, very original version, and when Tez and I were joking about this, we came up with all sorts of stuff, like it had to be gasket mounted, and it had to have all sorts of other stuff anyway. It did have kind of like down the side of it, I think there's a good screen cap at the side of it, but down the side it had 3 of these kind of recessed holes, and it had a brass base on it as well. And they were just there as an affectation, and they've, over the course of the design, they've moved around onto the back of it, and it's now made that face with the USB-C port and things like that. So,
okay, you paused to saying RGB shine through. So apparently these circles will be for RGB shine through the back.
At the back of the board.
And it's aimed at an upward angle. What are you even supposed to be shining at with that? Your monitor? I guess? I don't know. I'm a little confused.
Okay.
Oh man. Obviously, and hold on, I'm going to try to find the line, just because it's pretty good. He says, "This is a real product we will make, not some sort of joke, but it is definitely a full meme." And
it is,
we can clearly see that, and I like that. Thanks for pointing it out.
Yeah. I've already said to UPass and Teslatron that I want at least a couple of these, because I genuinely love them. I think they're great, so I want a couple of these. So one of the things that I really, really do hope he does is I hope he runs like a mini group buy for some DCS centers from SP, where we can have them die subbed with any ISO on the top. I think that'd be really, really good.
Oh yeah.
You know, if we could get these actual keycaps and the renders made as well, I think that'd be really nice. So this is Pilot XJ says Rama any ISO key. That'd be really good. I know that Salvan, I don't think Rama does, because Rama only does 1 new caps usually in his metal ones, but Salvan does do a CNC'd ISO key. So UPass, reach out to Salvan and see if we can get some artisanal
that would be amazing. Obviously, this is kind of this was spawned as kind of a meme. It's no surprise that Jay takes a lot of backlash in the community, being an ISO user. Not a lot of people like that. A lot of people want to see it dead. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. But you know, he takes a lot of flack for it. So I think to convert something that's kind of on like the negative spectrum and turn it into not only like just like a fun meme, but like embrace it and turn it into a real product is a really good way to handle that kind of situation.
Yeah,
it just kind of makes it fun for everyone.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is a useful thing as well. I mean, if people have macro pads, it's you know, I think this is going to be quite a useful thing.
I want to know the price. I want to see what kind of price this is going to be.
I can't remember where I saw it, but I'm pretty sure he said $60 if he gets to the kind of numbers he wants to get.
Oh wow, that's not too bad. Okay.
I don't know if that was in the interest check or if UPass just mentioned that to me and I've kind of said something I shouldn't have done. But I think he mentioned somewhere around $60 mark is where he wants to get to.
It says price in the replies, but unfortunately, because
Keycap... Oh yeah, no, he does. Yeah, he does. So reply number 8 says target price is $60, but it really depends on how many he can buy from the manufacturers. Interestingly, the very next comment makes me laugh. It says, "No ISO, no buy." Oh wait, damn it, I'm in. He's going to say no ISO, no buy, but Yeah.
Oh, the Rage Agent in chat says the big brain play would be to program a macro on it that just types out any ISO avail, and I think that's totally true.
Yeah, it is. Now I wouldn't do that personally because, and this I get told this a lot. I get told, oh, you're one of those people that posts in threads asking for ISO and then never buys a set and all this kind of thing. I don't do that. If I comment that I want an ISO key, that means I'm gonna buy the set. I'm not gonna jump out of it, or I want the board or whatever it is I'm asking to support it. I know some people do ask for it and then it doesn't get the support later on, and that's kind of why there's a lot of negativity to it. I think this is a good thing for the community. Everyone's got a ton of ISO keys that they don't use currently, so why not have a use for them?
I mean, you already have the key laying around. Probably, I'm sure you got a spare switch lying around. It's pretty easy to pick one up. So let's actually talk about some of the specs, because this is actually a pretty impressive little board. So it does have RGB underglow. The flat bottom there is made of palm. Sorry for the dogs barking outside my window. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. Dogs just like to go crazy outside my apartment, apparently. That's just kind of the way it is. The housing...
They can smell you, Brian. They want you. The dogs want you.
They're like, ooh, top clack, nice. Nom, 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 nom. So the housing is a single block of aluminum with an integrated plate. I can't tell how thick it's supposed to be, but I'm assuming 1.5 mil, judging by the renders.
1.5 mil, yeah.
The PCB is ARM-powered with USB-C. There is support for an SMD RGB, but the user has to add it themselves. And at least the colors are still kind of pending, but he's looking at black, navy blue, and rose gold. So pretty interesting little macro pad.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is because it runs QMK, you can kind of do whatever the hell you want with it. Yeah. We all know that QMK is really powerful. You can put macros on there and stuff like that. So you can do a lot with this for one key. You could have it to turn your PC on and off if you wanted it really simply, but then you could also have it as a macro and tap and hold. So if you tapped it, it'd do one feature. If you held it down, it'd do a different feature. Lots of options you can do with it.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how the RGB shines out through the back here, and I hope it shines out by the USB port as well as these two little circular cutouts. That way it just kind of looks like a face even more. So pretty
I
fun
like
stuff.
it. Yeah, it is fun. It is fun.
So
and I'm definitely going to buy at least one. So.
I'll probably have to get one too, because I have 800 billion ISO enters laying around like a lot of other people.
Yeah. ISO build stream when.
Yep. I do plan on doing an ISO build soon, actually. I have now that I have a plate and a PCB that supports it, so that'll be
interesting.
Maybe a little homage to show that I'm not just trying to pigeonhole Onzi. I'm all about variety. I can adapt.
Good to know.
All right. Anyways, that is an interest check forum right now, so make sure to show interest if you want to get one of these.
Yep, okay, so moving on to our next topic then. This is an interest check for mechanical keyboard t-shirts. So this is from user R_NB, and he's got a couple of designs for different t-shirts that he's posted onto the Mechanical Keyboards Reddit over the past couple of weeks, looking for feedback from the community, and it's been really positive. So what he's doing now is he's seeing if anyone wants to buy one of these t-shirts. He plans to have them made and shipped from the Philippines, and shipping worldwide will be offered. He doesn't have any final definitions in terms of the colours of the t-shirts, but what I really wanted to talk about here, Brian, wasn't necessarily these particular t-shirts, which I quite like. The Switch It Up t-shirt is one of my favourite.
Yeah, that was pretty good, actually,
in the keyboard community. But what do you think to the whole keyboard apparel as a topic in general? I know we've seen it before with Mito's stuff, which was very divisive, if I'm quite open. But then we've also seen people like Way have their t-shirts, like the Top Clack one. Go buy it, guys, because it supports Top Clack and Way. Do you like that, Brian? Do you like that little
that was good. That was good. Good integration there. That's good. You're learning. You're learning.
Yeah, I'm learning. Yeah. So what do you think on the whole kind of topic of kind of keyboard and hobbyist wear and apparel?
I think it depends on how deep you are in the hobby, right? For someone like me, I am all for it. In fact, it's no surprise. Almost every time I'm on the show, I'm wearing a keyboard-related shirt, because almost all of my t-shirts are keyboard-related now. Like, that's just my wardrobe. So I like it because keyboards are kind of like my life. Like Top Clack is kind of like my life now, and like the keyboard community is kind of like my family. I like it. I love it. I'm really happy about it, and you know, why wouldn't I want to show that off? So to integrate even more of that into my life is totally fine. You know, it's something as, you know, non-consequential as a T-shirt. It's easy. I'd like to see more apparel in terms of keyboard stuff personally.
Yeah, I think I agree. One thing that I'd really like to see is vendors doing T-shirts and things. I know some do. My Keyboard.eu and Way and things, they have them. I really want a Dixie T-shirt because I really like his logo. So I think that it's definitely something that's got a space in the hobby for it. I know that we've had the Holy Panda T-shirts and hoodies and things in the past and stuff as well that have sold quite well. So I think it's a good thing, and I think that we should be, you know, embracing this kind of stuff and trying to help it along. Yeah,
I think, man, I feel like someone could really kind of just do, if there's one vendor that just does this really well, they could probably just survive off just doing apparel, whether it's T-shirts, you know, socks, whatever, sweats, hoodies, whatever you want to do. But I do think that there is certainly a market for it, and if you really nail the designs, our community is getting large enough to where this could be a viable option.
Yeah, I think so. I think what I would quite like to see, or even maybe do, is have kind of like a store that kind of allows people to come and offer their design. So, for example, I had a store, Brian, and you came and said, "I've got a design. Can we run it through your store? This is a T-shirt." You know, have those kind of collaborations as well, and we can come up with designs like this, but have one central repository for it. It's something that I considered doing towards the back end of last year and just never got round to. But I do think that apparel in this hobby is going to be something that's going to go quite big. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. But I fully support RMB. I think the designs are okay, especially the second one. I really like the second design, switch it up. So yeah, be good to see.
Yeah, the potential is there, definitely. All right, and moving on to the final topic of our news doc.
Nope.
Oh, is it not?
I've got a surprise for you in a minute. I've got a surprise for you, but carry on. I've got a surprise for you, but it's fine.
Jay, I'm the one running the stream. You can't surprise me with tabs I don't have open.
It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry. We're gonna do one of those initial reaction things. So just
are we?
We'll get to, we'll carry on. We'll get
glorious.
To it in a minute,
awesome. I love not being prepared. All right. So this second to final news topic is the Cruciformer by Rudbeard Designs, and this is something we talked about a while back on the show. We're all in favor of this pretty much. I, in particular, as someone that owns, I don't know, 400 box switches that are pre-tooled, that are just sitting in my drawer, this is something that really appeals to me. So if you guys aren't familiar with what this could be, this is a tool that lets you tool your own box stems, basically. So if you're unfamiliar with the drama that happened like a year ago or whatever it was now, you know, box switches had a stem that was within their spec, but compared to something that we use in the community a lot, such as GMK keycaps, the spec didn't quite line up, and the stems on the box switches were just a little too thick, and sometimes GMK keycaps couldn't quite handle it, and they would, you know, show cracks, stress fractures, things of that nature. So that's when the whole retooled box switch thing happened, and we got smaller spec box switches, and those have been pretty much all fine and good so far, as from what I can see. But if you have a bunch of old box switches laying around that you haven't sold for the cost of shipping yet, like a lot of other people have, this could be a really good option for you. I know it'll be for me. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think Top Clack has at least one of these coming as a review sample, so hopefully we'll be able to test this out and see kind of what happens. That'll be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So this is made out of, sorry, I'm a little bit behind in my doc. This is made out of 7075 aerospace aluminum, which is, as far as aluminum goes, really, really strong aluminum. It's very hard. He decided to go with that option over something like steel because it's easier to sharpen as opposed to steel, which apparently isn't. I'm not an expert.
Yeah,
but
it's better than a lot of the softer aluminiums as well. So if you look at some of the softer aluminium parts, they probably deform over time and lose that edge to cut with.
Yep.
So this is interesting enough. The last thing that we saw made from this aluminium was the switch nuts. The switch openers were like giant nuts. I can't remember.
Nutcracker or whatever.
Nutcracker, yeah, the Nutcracker. That's one.
DN. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm moving.
These.tn. Yeah, yeah. So I think this is really good. It's a good tool. You know, if you've already got a board built, you can use it on the board with the key switches in place, or you can use it on unsoldered key switches as well, whichever way you want to do it, with or without the jig. And it's also worthwhile remembering it works on the Nexus Alps sliders as well. So those were originally designed using box switches for the tolerances, which was kind of a mishap in retrospect, but these will also work on those as well. So if you do have a lot of old switches, then it's a good tool to be able to use to make them usable again and to trim them down. It's going to be quite messy work. You know, you're going to have little bits of plastic and stuff around, but it's nothing people can't overcome. And
it can be worth it because a lot of the box switches are good switches. Like, they really are.
Yeah, they're not bad switches. Yeah,
and you know, after the whole Boxgate incident happened, there were a lot of people that were just offing their box switches by the truckloads, basically, for pennies. Sometimes even just the cost of shipping. So maybe if you're one of those people that benefited from that and you just decided to pick up a bunch hoping that a tool later on would come out that would fix your issue, bam, here you go. You just got rewarded. So that's pretty much going to be like me. Like I said, I have hundreds of switches that have just been waiting for a tool to hit the market. And, you know, when I first saw the price of $35, I was like, that's a little high. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's really not. The fact that it uses 70-75 aerospace aluminum now is definitely a benefit, I would say. It's probably I'm not an expert, obviously, but I assume it's more expensive, and I assume it's harder to actually CNC. So
it is, yeah. And there's quite a lot of CNC work that has to go into these to make them usable as a tool as well. It's worthwhile just touching on the fact that there's a Cruciformer, which is the tool that will trim the cruciforms down on the top of your stems. But there's also a jig as well for box switches at the moment. So you can put the jig over the top. There isn't a good picture of it, I don't think, unfortunately.
No, there's not a picture yet.
You can put the jig over the top of the switch, and what that will do is it will guide the tool to make sure you're trimming the switch in the right places, rather than doing it by eye and by just hand feel alone. So that's really useful. It's only an extra $10 for the jig, so it's well worth considering grabbing one of those as well. Blind Assassin does mention in chat that he's talking to the creator about this, and they're going to try and make a jig for the Nexus sliders as well. So I would like to see that. I know there's a lot of people that bought some Nexus sliders, myself included, and if I can get a jig to help me trim those down, then I would be all for it.
Cool. Yeah. It's also worth shouting out that Rudd did hit me up before the show, and he wanted to do a little bit of a special bonus for top Clack people. So if you do buy 2 or more of these, 2 or more pieces, I should say, like let's say you want to buy the Cruciformer and the jig, or you just want to buy 2 Cruciformers or more, and you use promo code TOPCLACK, one word, and you're in the continental US, you will get free shipping. So nice little bonus there. Top Clack doesn't get any extra benefit from that or anything, so just don't worry about it. But if you are in the continental US and you do order 2 items or more, you will get free shipping with promo code TopClack. So shout outs to him for doing that code for us, and hopefully you guys can put that to use.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully we'll get one of these to sample and we can check it out. And I've been dying for one of these, man. Like, I've been dying for. I have so many box switches. You guys don't even know. It's ridiculous.
No, it'll be good for the community as well. I think there's a lot of people out there that use box switches. They're really, really popular, so it'd be good to get them back up and running usable. So yeah,
absolutely. So we look forward to this hitting the market. We look forward to seeing people's reactions on it. Hopefully, it works as well as it's been advertised, and we can all be good. Someone was asking how long is the code active. It should be active until the end of the month. So you should have the rest of April to be able to use that code. So you got a little while before you can still get it. Talisman Solutions gifting a tier 1 sub to VPR555. That's their 119th gifted sub. Thank you very much, Talisman, once again.
Wow. 119 gift subs. That's just huge. Thank you, dude.
He's a monster. He's a real monster. So yeah, guys, pick up a Cruciform.
A legend.
Pick up a Cruciform, maybe pick up a 2 for a friend. I don't know. Pick up the jig with it. Use the promo code if you're in the US and get that going. Speaking of things you should buy, you should head over to NovelKeys and maybe hop in on a few of the group buys or products they have currently listed. This is the start of our sponsor segment, if you guys didn't realize. So
we've still got another topic to go as well, Brian. So we'll
that's right. You were surprising me. We'll go after the sponsor spot. It's fine.
Cool. Okay, let's do the sponsor spot first.
Yeah. So NovelKeys, you know them, you love them. They have GMK Metropolis group buy still going on right now. Of course, in addition, they do also have Metropolis desk pads, which are pretty freaking awesome. I ordered one of these already, even though I didn't order the set. And they also have Metropolis cables, so you can kind of get a full matching theme if that's your thing. They do have a bunch of lube, but big surprise, it's sold out really fast. So hopefully we'll be getting a restock of that very soon so you guys can pick up some of those sweet, sweet lubes. They still have lots of switches in stock, though. Of course, the NovelKeys cream switches, which I've been using quite a bit lately. I've been loving them. They also have the Gateron Ink series in right now as well, but they don't have the normal ones in stock, just the silent one at the moment. Haven't tried those, but I imagine they're probably pretty good. I know the normal ones are pretty awesome, in my opinion as well. So make sure while you're there, and maybe you're picking up some products that aren't in group buy, you can use promo code TOPCLACK. No, not TopClack, sorry. That's not right anymore. It's ClickClack. 2 words, ClickClack. Yep. That'll get you 5% off your entire order. It changes every month, guys. So that is the current product code for that.
Yep, perfect. Okay, and moving over to our second sponsor of this evening, it is the wonderful Kono.store. So this is the input club guys there for the front end for their store, and they've got a lot of different items for you to consider. So currently for the wait list, they've got something that's really interesting, which is the Keystone mechanical keyboards. If you guys haven't seen this, I know we talked about it on the show a little while back, but these are silo Hall effect analog switches that they're trying to engineer based on the original Hall effect switches that use magnetic reeds and things like that. They're coming up with a new version of it that's really, really interesting. I know that Walker and I have been talking a fair bit about them in the Discord server. So if you're interested in trying a new type of switch that's very different to anything we've got on the market, do check out the waitlist for these boards, and we'll cover it again as it starts to move through IC and into group buy phases as well. In terms of products you can actually jump on and join, they have got the group buy for GMK 9s running currently as well. So if you are interested in GMK 9s and you're in the EU, in the US, Kono is your store to be able to pick up GMK 9s. $129.99 base kit. But it's got a full support for numpad and everything else. It's a really nice base kit using GMK stock colors, run by Amir, who's often active on our Discord server as well. And there's also EU and Asia vendors as well for those as well, if you want to from there. And then finally, we've also got the Hex Gears line as well. So these are all of the entry-level boards, Hex Gears, where you can have multiple different kinds of mechanical switches on there, come with different types of pudding caps or alpha white keycaps as well. So you can take a look at those if you want to try and get someone into the hobby. They're a really great starter board with different box options for switches as well. So yeah, feel free to check those out on Kono.store.
Yeah, and make sure you check out the SA Granite group buy that's going on.
Oh yeah, the SA Granite, I completely missed that. Yeah, SA Granite,
that's big. That's big. It looks pretty cool too.
Right at the top of the page as well. Yeah, SA Granite. Yeah, so apologies, I missed that. I can't believe I missed that. It was one of the ones I wanted to talk about as well. But lots of different kits in there. It's up now as well. Base kits start as low as $69.99, so it's really, really cheap. Going up to I think some of the prices go a little bit higher than that, but the base kit's $69.99 if you want the text kit or the icon kit. Group buy is running until is it the end of the month or something like that? It starts April the 11th. Group buy pricing ends on July the 1st, and production's expected between October and November, with delivery late in 2019.
Yep, awesome stuff. Next up, we have ZealPC.net with Zeal Generation. Sorry. He's got to change his URL. I feel like it can't be ZealPC.net. I really think he should change that. So Zeal, if you're watching, change your URL to Zeal Generation. Anyways, we have Zeal Generation, which has a lot of cool things in stock as usual. We've been loving the key switches that he's been doing lately. We've been going through a lot of them. He's got the V2 Zelio lineup going on right now. I've been using a lot of those on my Zephyr lately. They're freaking amazing. He's got the Telios if you're more of a linear fan. If you like silent switches, he has the Helios, which is the silent linear, and the Xylants, which are the silent tactile. Both of those really good switches. I think he does still have a limited amount of the Sicurios and Roselios in stock right now, which are the kind of they're like Helios, but they have a pink stem. There's 2 different versions. There's one with a 62-gram spring, one with a 67-gram spring. Don't have any of those, but I imagine if they're just as awesome as the Helios, then that's pretty darn fantastic. So maybe hop in on some of those if you want. And he also has the crap. Where is it? Does he have the ion cap still up?
I think so. It was
there we go.
Yesterday.
Yeah, so the group buy is still open for the Rama X Ion aluminum keycap, which I really like. I think this would look quite nice on your Ion keyboards designed Zeno or Zeno. There's two colors available: Kuro Black and Moon Gray. So very traditional Rama colors there for only $40.
Yeah, also supports Pona as well, who's the designer of who runs Ion keyboards, designer of the Zeno and other boards soon to come, from what I understand. So it might be something you want to buy in anticipation of that as well.
Yep, absolutely. And as of recently, Zeal Generation does now have free shipping on orders over $150 if you are in the USA and Canada. And the rest of the world, it is $200 or more. And if you're in Russia, you're at $300 or more. And make sure, if you are maybe one of those international buyers, you might get smacked by PayPal with fees because you're using international credit cards. He now has a new system up in the top left where you can use Shopify payments, and you can choose your currency, and that way you won't have to get smacked with those international fees. That helps a lot of people.
It's really useful. Really useful.
It's really useful.
Yeah. It's a good little tool to stop bank fees and numerous other bits and pieces in. Well, certainly for me in the EU anyway.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and just to remind it as well, guys, if you do want to support Top Clack, you can use the zealpc.net/Top Clack link, which is a link I shared earlier on. That is an affiliate link for Top Clack. It does give us a small kickback, but if you want to support the show, if you want to support Brian and I, and if you want to support Zeal and you're buying Zeal products, it's entirely up to you whether you use it or not, but we would really appreciate any support that you can generate to using the code.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and then moving on to our final sponsor before we get back to the news and our FAQ section or question section. It's KBDfans.cn. So this is Way's store. So lots of things to talk about. KBDfans have been killing it recently. The big news is the KBD8X Mark II. It's now in group buy. It looks amazing. It looks fantastic. We talked about it right at the top of the show. Lots of good stuff to be going on there. Tons of options and a fantastic price for what you get in for your money. I think it's, if you're looking for a TKL, it's kind of a no-brainer. Is this for a good solid board designed by AIO3 as well? So going to be fantastic quality in terms of the PCB and the design internally as well. So really looking forward to that. As well as that, we've also got EBBT Kuro Shiro, which is a set we covered last week on the show. So if you're interested in checking this set out, it is up for a little bit longer as well. So there's lots of different kits from this, starting at $43 for the Japanese kit and going all the way up through the price list. But you can get full sets on there for about $100, I think, when we worked it out last week.
A little bit lower.
A little bit lower, just under. Yeah, there's also a Rama Cura brass keycap as well, if you want to pick up a novelty to go with it. But this is a really, really wonderful set. So if you like that Japanese style, you want to support Wei and Gok, have a look at that set. And then finally, just the other key set I want to talk about is EPBT Extended 2048 as starting on the 19th. So this is coming in just a few days. Again, it's heavily inspired by the AEK keycaps from Apple boards historically, but it's in the EPBT profile. So Beep is the designer of this. It's looking really, really nice. If you like that aesthetic, but you don't want to use Alps and harvest old switches and keycaps, then this could be the set for you. Some great prices as well. It looks fantastic on a lot of the different boards it's rendered on. Doesn't have the weird sculpt that the original keycaps do. It's standard cherry profile through EPBT. So if this is your aesthetic, go have a look.
Yep, absolutely. So let's quickly move back to our news topics, because apparently we still have one more that I don't know about. So
yeah, we do. We have one more to talk about, which Gio's been prompting me. He sent me about 4 or 5 messages during the show, so I kept getting pings left, right, and centre. There's the link. This is something that's been teased by Dixie for a long time. It's been coming for a while, but it's not GMK 9009. This is GMK 8008. Reading the text, there are many kinds of designers. Every designer is inspired in different ways. I'm inspired by the things that happen in my life. Bear in mind, these are Dixie's words. I saw a sports bra, probably the first one he's seen. Let's be honest. And he was inspired, and this was the result. This is GMK 8008, which again is harking back to this whole kind of 80s feel. We've seen a lot of kind of kits and sets and products that are kind of, you know, evoking nostalgia recently. What do you think, Brian?
Okay, so let me just preface this by saying Jay and I haven't seen this yet. Normally when we have the news doc, we add things to the news doc, we review them, we learn a little bit about them, so we're prepared when we talk about them. We're not always completely prepared, but we have a general idea always, at the very least, of what we're going into for a news topic. This is completely fresh for both of us. I think this set looks amazing.
It looks phenomenal.
I was not expecting it to. I was expecting this to just be like a meh set for me. Like, I don't really care about it, but just this first render, this is a home run. I have to buy this set. It looks so undeniably good.
This is balls to the wall good. It's fantastic. It's nostalgic. It's clean. It's fresh. It's classy. It'll look good on dark boards. It'll look good on light boards. It's got that hot pink aesthetic to it. I'm all over this, Dixie. Man, why haven't you been sharing this for God knows how long?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's been teasing it. I wasn't expecting it to look this good.
Yeah. Now there is a mistake in the set. So Dixie, I hope you're watching because I'm going to call you out now. On the base kit, you've got 2 ANSI enters, and both of them are the same color. I suspect one of them is supposed to be black, so you need to fix your render, man. But other than that, this looks really, really good. There's a lot of support in the kit. ISO's there, so I'm happy, chap. Don't take that out, please, Dixie, because I want to buy this. So that's in there. You've got support for TKL 1800. You can buy a separate numpad, or you even got icon mods as well. I'm not sure about the icon mods. I'm not sure I like those. But yeah, I really, really like it. It's good. It's really good.
This is is the group buy open, or is this just an interest check?
This is pre-interest check. Interest check coming soon. It says right at the very bottom, which just links back to this page. But it does look really good. I'm glad we finally got to see the set. There was a similar set that ran with Evangs on for the minivan. What was that called now? I can't remember what it was called.
Was it the 80s kid or whatever?
Yeah, GMK 80s kid. That's the one. That was kind of had a similar aesthetic, but it was very different to this set. And what color are those mods? Are they kind of like a bluish grey? Because they look like they've got a tint of blue to me. I don't know if that's just my eyes this time of morning.
You're asking me about colors, Jay. The only thing I know about this is I see some pink, and I like pink. I'm assuming these are pink.
Yeah, it's a bluish grey. They are pink. They're bright pink. They are very, very pink. Yeah.
And for those of you that might not know me, I like pink.
I
like pink. I'm not afraid to say it.
I like pink as well. There's nothing wrong with that. I think this set's looking great. I'm definitely going to have to pick this up. The 2 ANSI enters being the same color, that's really, really bugging me. Dixie, fix it, please. Please fix it.
Please fix it. Oh my gosh.
I'm kind of a little bit triggered by it.
Oh man, this is good. This set looks so good though. Like it looks subdued, but like there's just enough accent. Like it's not too colorful or too in your face. It's like it's kind of a good middle ground. Icon mods, perfect. I love icon mods. Yeah. This is a must-buy for me already.
Yep, I really like the look of this. I'm definitely going to pick it up. Yeah, Dixie, when? Just tell us when. Give us a date.
I might actually use the accent spacebar on this set too.
Oh, no, I think that might be too...
That's how much I'm liking this.
Might be too much, maybe.
It might be too much, I like but... Oh man, I'm liking this. I'm liking this. Cool, very cool. Thank you for that teaser that just went up.
Dixie also says he's going to post a photo of him in the bra that inspired him if it hits 1,000 MOQ.
Of course he would.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. Where did you see the bra, Dixie? Was it in a shop or was someone wearing it when you saw it? That's what I want to know. What's the story here? And was it the first bra you ever saw? You know,
Dixie's a married man. Let's not call him out too much here.
I just like to wind him up and tease him.
Of course.
Yeah. So on the fly reactions, hot take. I like it. And
yeah,
I'm gonna buy it.
I think it looks. Really I think it looks stunning.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. All right. So in the same vein, we have another impromptu topic.
Oh, do we? Gosh.
I don't know if you knew about this one, Jay, but you know, we have another topic here. So I'm going to open up this one. This is the thread. I'll post the link since obviously.
Oh yes, I do know about this. Yes.
Okay, so I didn't know about this until I just got PM'd about it. So this is the plastic Alice. This is another one that is very impromptu. We didn't see this beforehand. We're not prepared for this, and there's a lot of text in here too. So it's going to be hard to talk about it without actually reading a lot of this text. But,
yeah. So I'm fairly comfortable with this. I didn't realise the IC had gone up, but Jack Static did reach out to me and asked if I'd be interested in this a couple of days ago. So I did know it was coming, but I didn't realise we could talk about it yet. So effectively what he's doing is he's recreating the Alice with Utsuki's permission. He does have Utsuki's permission. He's confirmed that to me. Made out of UHMW, which is a really ultra heavy something or other plastic. But it's a really dense, thick, heavy plastic, more so than polycarbonate. And I think we talked about this, one of his other ICs for a different board using that same material a little while ago as well. Brian, I don't know if you recall that. But effectively what he's going to do is he's going to be making the actual Alice using files, plate files at least, from Utsuki. So Sam's been kind enough to share those, and then they've kind of re-engineered the design of the case around the plate file based off of the back of it. It does come with a PCB, which is the Alice PCB that 159 is running, I believe. If I'm wrong on that, I apologise. I haven't read through it, but I'm just going from memory here. But the case does come with a weight design. It comes with the top and bottom case and the plate as well, and it's pretty much identical to the Alice in terms of its layout as well.
Yeah, top mount, 6.5 degree angle, but apparently is that the angle of the Alice, or does he?
No, I think it's 8 degrees on the Alice. I think.
Okay, so he means that the original is 8 degrees on the Alice. Okay, so it's not quite as angled, which is still, I mean, for me that's totally fine. 6.5 is still very reasonable. Pretty interesting. So I'm looking down here at the timeline. Ideally 8 to 10 weeks or less. Pricing $350 to $400. Shipping is separate. So, I mean, a lot of people would say, like, oh, it's a plastic keyboard. Why is it so expensive? But obviously this UHMW is some pretty serious plastic. As far as like weight and durability goes, it seems, and also obviously he's going to have a brass weight and
I think
a brass plate option.
If I remember rightly, I think it's almost as heavy in terms of volume as aluminium is. It's not like polycarbonate that's, you know, a quarter of the weight. It's actually up there. It's almost as dense as some metals are. So it is going to be really heavy. Now, what I will say is, I know it's being called the Alice, but I want to be really clear on this. What they've done is they've taken the Alice plate file, which Utsuki has agreed to open them, and he said if you want to create a case around that plate, you can do. So this isn't necessarily the Alice files for the case. That's something that they've re-engineered based off the plate file. So whilst the plate and the PCB is the design, the case is something that they've developed themselves, and hence why it's got a different angle and things like that. So it won't be exactly the same as the Alice. So if you have like an Alice wrist rest or something like that, it may not match up with the bottom profile. It may be slightly different. But for all intents and purposes, it's going to be very, very close.
Yeah, definitely. Apparently it was formerly called the Fake Alice or F Alice. Phallus.
Yeah, I think that was before they got Utsuki's support, and that was when it was going to be quite private, I think. But now they've got Utsuki's support.
It'd be cool to have a different name, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of don't. That's why I wanted to call out that it's not exactly an Alice. It's very similar to an Alice, and it's based on the same layout, but it's not the Alice itself. It's slightly different. They've re-engineered themselves.
I feel like it's different enough to warrant a different name. Personally,
yeah, I think that's fair. I'd call it like the Alicia or something like that. Something that pays homage to the Alice name.
Alicia, call it Alicia.
Yeah, Alicia. Yeah. You know, that just makes it clear that it's slightly different. But I'm really interested. I'm tempted to grab one. I have been talking to Jax about potentially joining this, purely to try out the material, not necessarily the board itself, as I've already got an Alice, but to although comparison between the two would be quite good actually. That might be a fun stream. But just to try out the material and see what it's like. I think he did say, and again, I'm going from memory here, but there's 2 options in terms of color. They can do almost like a Cerakote type process to it, so you can have it as dark black, so it would look like black anodization would do, or black Cerakote would do. But there's also a white version if you want to use RGB underglow, and you can have that kind of diffusing through the case as well.
Certainly. So how do you feel about this ultra high molecular weight polyethylene? I think is what it's called. That is what
polyethylene.
Oh, yeah, okay, polyethylene. Yeah. So that's what UHMW is. New material for keyboard cases. He says we've seen this material not used before, but we've seen people talk about it in keyboards before. So what do you think this is? Do you have any experience with this material, or how do you think it's going to translate to keyboards?
I don't. I imagine it's going to be dense. Now, I really like the sound that a polycarb bass gives to a keyboard, like I've done on the TMO50, and I know we talked about that before, Brian. I think that, and the polycarb singers have been really, well sought after, and polycarb 910s and all that, demand really good prices now. So I think premium plastic is just as good as, a metal enclosure these days. And I'm really interested to see, because there is a ton of plastics out there on the market that we don't typically use in keyboard manufacturing. We use polycarbonate and acrylic, and that's broadly it. So to see something like this, a POM as well, POM's something that's starting to pick up. So to see something like this, that's a really dense, heavy plastic, I imagine it's going to be a lot deeper in note than polycarb is. Polycarb adds quite a nice roundness to the sound of the switches. I think this is going to be quite thocky and quite deep and quite. It's going to add a lot of timbrance to the tone of the board, I suspect. But until I get one in hand, until I try it, I can't say for certain. But I'm interested to try it, and I think we should absolutely be encouraging the use of new materials.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even until recently, with the polycarbonate trend, before that, everyone always just kind of thought that metal equals best. Mm-hmm. But that's not really the case here. No pun intended. But there are lots of materials on the market that are totally usable, that are non-metal, and I feel like we're only kind of just beginning to break into that with the new surge of polycarbonate. Carbon fiber starting to get used a little bit more, and now we're seeing the UHMW, which is pretty interesting. It seems like the potential could be there.
Yeah, I think the interest with this as well is that a lot of people, as you said, seem to think plastics less superior than aluminium, and a lot of people don't like the high prices of plastic boards. But we've seen with a lot of boards that polycarbonate, it sounds really, really good. It really does accentuate the board. It feels nice.
It's a very strong, durable material.
Yeah, and if we've got something that's like polycarbonate but has better features, then why shouldn't we try it? It might not be as good as polycarb. It might be better than polycarb. It might be another viable option to polycarb. But we should absolutely be encouraging and trying all of these new, different, materials. And things like that.
Pushing the boundaries. Pushing the boundaries is always what we need to be doing in this community.
Absolutely.
In the grand scheme of things, we're still a very, very young, immature hobby, a very young, niche, immature hobby. So whatever we can do, even if it fails, we should be trying to do it, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if this gets no further than the prototypes, and then it's decided that UHMW isn't suitable material, then at least we've tried as a community, and people have their thoughts and opinions on it. Things. So it's absolutely well worth trying. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yep, cool. So we'll have to wait and try to see a little update for this. Hopefully maybe we can get one of these to play around with. One of us has to experience this plastic, right? That has to happen one way or another.
As I say, I've been talking to Jax about it. He approached me a couple of days ago and asked if I'd be interested in grabbing hold of one of these, because he's running the other board, his 10 keyless board, in the same plastic, which is the Irma, which I was going to pick up, but I'm tempted more to grab this and then compare this to the original Alice. And we can look at a number of different things, and we can compare 2 similar boards in terms of sound. If I put this... I'll have to change the switches in the Alice because I don't want to put Nixes in 2 boards. But if I can get kind of like a similar sort of build across the 2, we can compare sound a little bit better and things like that. So it'd be quite nice. And we can compare the actual design of the board, because it's not a true Alice. It's kind of a modified Alice to the actual Alice as well. And we'll see how close the design is.
Yeah.
But the good thing is he's reached out to Yutski, and this is what I like to see. He's not you know, just doing this off the own back. He's actually reached out to the original designer and said, "Can I do this, please?" And they've been like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So that's really nice to see. Collaboration is king.
Yep.
So it's good to see.
All right, so that was officially our last topic, as far as I'm aware. So
wait, we've got one more.
No, you're a liar. You're clearly a liar.
I am. Yeah.
So I'm gonna swap our overlay back over here, and now is going to start our Q&A segment. So if any of you have questions for Jay or myself, Top Clack as a whole, about keyboards, about whatever, now is the time to ask. This is our Q&A segment. Make sure you use the @TopClack tag so we can see it a lot easier. We greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't see any questions as yet. Nebulant says POM is denser than UHMW. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise that.
Okay.
It says this stuff is not super dense. It's like 1/3 of that of aluminium. Okay. Maybe I have experienced it in something else, and if you, I might have to Google and see what else is made of it and see if I can find something. First question then from Gia says, Top Clack, when are you going to open up the news doc to mods so we can make sure you don't miss stuff? We should do that, really. I mean,
okay, when you ask that question, it's clear that you don't understand how we run the stream as it goes through. So like, let's say an interest check or whatever goes up during the show. It's not on our news doc, and if you add it to the news doc, we won't see it unless we actually go out of our way to get it. Because the way the news doc works is, you know, once our news doc is complete, right before we start the show, I open up every tab in a browser in the proper order, and then we go through it systematically. So it would have to be added to like multiple things. We'd have to know about it during the show to actually get it added. That's the problem.
So there's probably another side to this that I think that we should consider as well, Brian. So you're right, during the show, it's very difficult for anyone to add a news article for us to then pick it up. Probably the way that Geo has done it by pinging us and, you know, saying, look at this, guys, look at this, guys, look at this, guys. That's probably the best way to do it. But I think maybe we should open it up to the mods for during the week so they can add stuff to it for us to cover. Or for us to consider covering. That might be.
I'm not opposed to that. Yeah, I'm definitely not opposed to that. When we're trying to do things like professionally, like in real time, systematically, it can be really hard to slot in a topic in the browser in real time while I'm showing stuff on stream. Like, that's just not how it works.
Okay. So bottom line on that, Gio, we'll reach out to mods chat. We'll talk about opening the format
talk about it. Yeah,
in other ways. Yeah,
certainly.
Okay. Second question then comes from Blind Assassin. It says, Top Clack, are either of you getting a candy bar tomorrow? Maybe I haven't decided yet. I'm going to have a look and see how I feel personally. I might do it. I really like the look of it. It does look really good. But I'll be glad to see the group buy go. And of course, we'll cover it next week on the show because it's not open just yet.
Yeah. I don't know if I will be. It's not necessarily my preferred layout, although I do really like the way the candy bar looks and the price seems pretty reasonable. I also just bought a car like a week ago, so I have like no money right now. So we'll see how that goes. If I'm being honest, I probably will not be able to get one, so I probably won't get one. Frosted Flax asking thoughts on the Think 6.5. I think that group buy we'll be covering that next week. So I think the group buy opens in like 2 or 3 days. Yeah. So we'll have that on next week's new doc. We'll talk about it then. Initial thoughts. We covered the interest check a few weeks ago or whatever. It looks okay. It's not my favorite. I don't love it. I don't hate it.
I think the only real option is to buy the option without a badge for me. I don't like the badge option. I think the 4 layouts is fine, but I'd have to go for the full bar down the round side rather than the 66 key layout.
Yeah, definitely. Khan asking how our sex life is going.
Really good. Thanks. Thanks for asking.
Mine's pretty well too. I'm certainly not unhappy.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
Not Zesty Salsa asking, will you ever start covering artisans? That's a really good question, actually, because hold on, this is something that Huey and I actually struggled with too back when Huey was part of Top Clack, because artisans are a fairly large part of our community, and there are a lot of people that are really interested in them. And I do think it's good that, you know, to be able to get information. And I don't know enough about artisans anymore, and I think it's one of those things where if you're into artisans, you're probably a little bit less into like the rest of the keyboard hobby, because artisans go really fast. There's a lot going on, a lot of new sculpts coming out, a lot of new artisan makers, and it costs a lot of money. It really does. And it's odd to see. It's rare. It's not odd. It's rare to see someone that's really, really, really into keyboards like us, and also equally as into artisans, I feel like. And so I don't think either, I don't know about you, but I know I would not be qualified to really talk about artisans. So I feel like it would be something that we either have to kind of outsource maybe to someone else that's kind of an artisan expert, someone that's very positive, nice, and well-known in the community that could actually cover that sort of thing. But I do want to do something involving artisans, just to get information out there.
Yeah, so I think I'm probably more into the artisan game than you are, Brian, right now. I collect quite a lot of them. I've got them coming nearly every week. I think you're right in terms of the new show. We couldn't do what we do for keyboards and key sets with artisans, because we would just be here for 5 hours every week talking about different artisans. But you're right, I absolutely want to do something for artisans. I have had a couple of ideas, and I know we haven't had a chance to talk about this because we've been sorting out the 24-hour stream, but we've got a lot of things that Brian and I want to talk about to change Top Clack over the coming weeks and months. There's things that Brian's got in the works to try and improve the content we've got for you and have more content, and the same for me as well. One of the things I've been thinking about is doing some sort of podcast around something. Maybe artisans would be the right topic for that, I don't know. But yeah, it's something that we should definitely look at.
I want to get artisan content
we're
out.
Interested in. Yeah.
It's just a matter of how we do it, who does it, etc.
Yep.
But
so watch this space, and we'll come up with something.
Yeah, like we were teasing earlier, Top Clack is about to go through kind of an evolution. So we're gonna have more chances for cool stuff. We're really gonna try to make the push for Twitch partner by the end of the year. We're really gonna try to make the push for Top Clack being a full-time content creation studio. Hopefully by the end of the year. Ambitious goals, but there is a chance it could happen. So we're really going to try to start pushing things. We're going to start putting out a lot more stuff. So we're just kind of teasing you a little bit about that now. But we do have a lot of really cool ideas, and we're going to start implementing them very, very soon, within the coming weeks even. Some things are going to start. So just be on the lookout, guys. Good stuff happening. Great question, by the way, though. Great question.
Yeah, it is a good question, yeah. No Chance RPG says, so the KBD ATEX Mark II has a half poly plate. Can you even tell you have anything with a half poly plate? Yes, so you'll be able to tell you've got a lot of flex with the half poly plate, given the relief cuts in the PCB. You've got to remember that kind of half poly plate is designed for that kind of feel. It's not designed to hold your switches straight in that kind of half plate existence. It's kind of been removed to improve your feel if you like a softer feeling keyboard. So in terms of it being there, you're going to have it there because it's a top mount board. So you're going to have at least the half plate to be able to support the PCB and the switches to the case itself. So it's kind of like required for the way the design works. But in terms of telling that you've got a plate there or not, you will be able to tell you don't have one there, and that's kind of the idea behind it. It's supposed to feel flexible.
Yeah, it's supposed to really drive home the fact that the PCB itself has that kind of dual slot cutout system that is supposed to emphasize the flex. So I mean, the poly half plate option I think is going to be more for the people that A, want a lot of flex, and B, like their typing experiences more like PCB mount as opposed to actually having a traditional style plate in that sense.
Agreed. Yeah.
Gio is saying, Jay, you are looking way too chipper today for your time zone.
I'm hyped up on coffee, that's what it is. But it is 4:21 a.m, so yeah, it's getting there time-wise.
Coffee and what was the other thing that you were drinking that you were telling me about?
Iron Brew. So this is a Scottish delicacy of a soft drink. It's bright orange and it's called Iron Brew. Yeah, it's an interesting drink to say the least.
Yeah. Moving on, we have 10 Strong with a very, very long question. He's asking, did we cover the updated Mizu renders, so GMK Mizu? Also, I grabbed some of those plain Geekmaker cream top housings. Any notable combinations? Couldn't find... Oh my god, chat. It's moving so fast. Why won't it stop? Couldn't find a ton of info about them, but they were pretty cheap off AliExpress, I'm assuming is what that is. Was thinking of trying some with the T1 lower / stem. Finally, on my docket, buckled and grabbed a lube station from Clavier. Anything else I need in my life to make it easier / less cumbersome?
Oh, that's like 5 questions in one.
That's a lot of questions, man. All right.
Okay, let's start at the top. Mizu, we didn't cover the updated renders, but it'll be in group buy soon, so we'll cover it when it gets back to group buy. We did talk about it a few weeks ago when it was first into IC. We're both really, really excited for the set, and there's something that I'm talking with UPass and Renzu and Teslatron about as well. Maybe a secret side project as well. So there's lots of stuff happening there, and we will absolutely cover it again when it gets into group buy status.
Yep.
The Geekmaker cream top housings. Have you got any experience with these, Brian? Because I've got some Geekmaker creamy switches, but I'm not a fan of them, so I've not used any of the housings for anything else.
That's exactly where I am. I owned some, and then I got rid of them because I just didn't like them, mainly because of the top housing. I felt like there was too much play in between the top and the bottom housings, that it gave this very odd kind of rattle when you type. They were very smooth. Like, as far as smoothness goes, they were smooth, but everything else about them I just wasn't a fan of.
Even with the spring swap and a switch film, they didn't lose that rattle either. You couldn't really get rid of it. It was just poor fitting switches. So 10 Strong, I think the answer here is try it out. Let us know what you think. Ping us on the Discord. Tell us what your thoughts are after trying them. You know, bring it up in chat, and we'll see what your thoughts are. And if it sounds good, then we might try it. And then your last question, you mentioned that you've grabbed the loop station from Clavier. Good job. Yeah, loop stations are really, really useful. Anything else I need in my life to make it easier or less cumbersome? If you mean in terms of lubing switches, the only thing I have, which I don't have to hand to show you, is 3D printed stem holders. So if you don't tub lube or bag lube your stems, and you want to brush lube them, then I have these little tweezers. So they're kind of like a tweezer that holds onto the stem directly, and then you can lube it, but they're kind of like reverse tweezers. So when you let go of them, they apply pressure to the stem to hold it in place. They're really, really useful. If you want a pair, PM me on Discord and I'll 3D print you a pair and send them off to you.
Yeah, well, also there's I think the one that he bought, the one from Clavier, actually has it's a pretty fancy one. It has has spots for the bottom, the top, and the stems. Yeah, so definitely something to think about, because that's a pretty sweet lube station. I was gonna say, if maybe this is your first time lubing and you want some more recommendations, of course you can always ask around the Discord. Lots of cool people that are proficient in lubing nowadays. You can go to topclack.com. You can check out my lube article. I go over a little bit about the theory of lubing, and I go kind of what you would need to kind of get your setup, as well as techniques and stuff. So maybe that's something you could look at if you trust me, and if you don't, well then you don't trust me then. Yeah. So that's life. But yeah, I mean, just make sure you have your area kind of set up. Make sure you have enough time as well. I think having time, relaxing, make sure you're going slow, you're doing things consistently, you're doing things properly. That's what matters the most with lubing, in my opinion.
Agree. Yeah. Starson 3 says Top Clack PCB flex cuts, yes or no? I think it depends on the board for me. So I tend to prefer a firmer typing feel. So I prefer things like the Zephyr that's really firm and has a really strong mounting position. A lot of people prefer flex, so I think it depends on whether you like them or not. I think they're a fantastic innovation. I think we should absolutely embrace them. And you can put them on the PCB and not be influenced by them, depending on the plate choice as well. So if you put them on the PCB and then use a full carbon fiber plate or brass plate, you're not really going to notice that they're there. It's only when you start to use half plates or plates with relief cuts in them as well that you're going to start to realize it. So absolutely, we should embrace it. For me personally, not so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Innovation, man. Always got to get that innovation flowing.
Absolutely, yeah. The more new things we see, the better.
Pluto19 asking, how often do you wake the missus when you climb into bed after Top Clack? So
I don't. And the reason for that is she gets up at 5 o'clock for work, and it's usually about 5 o'clock when I'm getting to bed. So I usually stay up an extra 20 minutes until she gets up, and then I get into bed. So I don't pick her up.
Nice. Talisman Solutions gifting a tier 1 sub to Starston. Thank you very much, sir. I don't know if we got it earlier, but Japanese Horror Raider also donated 1,000 bits. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and Racing Giraffe as well subscribed with Twitch Prime. So thank you very much for that, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, that looks like we're caught up on questions, if I'm seeing this right. So we'll give you another minute or two to get in some last-minute questions before we head out here. So if you guys still have any last-minute questions, use the @TalkClack tag. We'll get to them very presently, and then we can, head out for the night.
Yeah. Silent Sense is reaching out. He's saying, I think this is to you, Brian. He says, "Is there a GoFundMe to buy you a TV stand? And if so, can I get a link?" Yeah, because my TV's fine. My TV's behind me. That's fine. Brian's TV's behind him. But
I feel like I have to explain this like every couple weeks. So the TV I have now is bad. This TV I got for free. It was from 2008, 2007. It's like a 32-inch 1080p LCD piece of crap. It looks terrible. I plan, once I have some spare money, I'm going to get a nicer TV and put it on. I actually have a little small TV stand entertainment center that's over here on this side of me. Has a bunch of other stuff on it right now, mostly keyboard stuff. But I'll clean that off once I get a nicer TV, and I'll put my TV there so you guys won't have to see this anymore. But this is just functional. This is free and functional. That's why I have it right now. The broke life, man. Sometimes you just gotta improvise, man. Just how it works.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, so if someone does want to donate to Brian, though, whilst he's happy with it, I think he needs a new one.
I wouldn't say I'm happy with it. It gets in the way, but it's just the way it is right now. Poor Chop Express subbing with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much for that.
And Eskimoja saying, "This IC just opened." I've just had a look at this. It's absolutely lovely. I really like that Keyset. But we're going to talk about it next week. We're not going to do it now. We'll talk about it next week. It's going to be the first thing on the news doc.
Okay.
We've done too much already. We'll talk about it next week.
Oh my gosh. Nebulant is asking, since Brian got a car now, when will we organize the official Top Clack race series? I don't know.
Yep, TBC.
I'm not exactly a professional racer, so I don't...
yeah. Sorry, TYMM or Tim2112 says, do either of you like a particular 1800 layout board? So I recently just got the Cypher from Cable Car Designs, which I built on stream last week or the week before. I really like it. So it's kind of like a mini 1800 layout, and it's really nice. It's easy to use. It's compact. I think Max or West Foxtrot, who runs the site, he refers to it as a AKL mini 1800, something like that. But it is really, really genuinely nice. In terms of other 1800 layouts, I've got a TX 1800 V2. I've actually got two of them, but those are full size and they're really, really nice and heavy. And I use one of them for work quite often as well. So those would be my two picks if you're looking for an 1800 right now.
Yeah, I'm not an 1800 expert. I don't really use boards that large. Even the more cut down boards like the Cypher, they tend to be a little bit too wide for me. So I'm not really an expert on those. But the Cypher does look pretty cool if I were to use an 1800 style board. Dixie Mac asking if I will explode if he starts launching group buys during the show in chat. I won't explode, but I'll be upset because I won't be prepared for him.
The other thing as well is, Dixie, you have to remember that we're not always going to be able to do it. Like the set that just came up a second ago for IC, I really like it, but we're going to talk about it next week.
Yeah.
So if you want us to talk about your set a week after it's old news, launch it during the show, that's fine. Or you can just launch it 10 minutes earlier and we'll cover it. So yeah.
Yeah. Just launch it before the show, man. Launch it at least a few hours before the show or more, and then we'll get it on the news doc. Easy.
Yeah, or tell us it's coming and you're going to launch it just before the show or whatever, and then we'll have something to look at. Share it with us, tell us, talk to us.
We're only human, all right?
Yeah,
we're only human. Upas asking what are upcoming build streams. So I might actually have one before Jay this week. I got that Prime E in that I was talking about earlier on the show, showing that off during the mail call, and I am hopefully going to be doing that tomorrow night. I still have to kind of see on time. I don't really, if I'm being honest, I don't really want to conflict with Teha Type's streaming schedule, and I think sometimes he streams at 8 p.m. Pacific on Fridays. So if I do, it'll probably be before then, probably somewhere around 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow, or I will save it for Monday or Sunday night. Which would, of course, be much later than Jay's Sunday stream in Pacific time.
Yep. Okay. For me, I've got a stream on Sunday where I'll be building 2 boards. One will be the Brutal 60, which I'm not going to show you. I showed at the beginning of the show. But the second board I'm going to build is going to be this, the Satisfaction 75. So this is UPass's board, which is why he's asked the question, because I know he wants me to plug this. With the weight design that I'm not allowed to show you. There we go. You know we can see that quick. But I'm not allowed to show you it, sadly. But we're going to get the board on stream. We're going to build it up on on Sunday. So that's going to be at 8 p.m. my time, which is going to be 3 p.m. if you're on the East Coast, and it's going to be about 12 noon if you're on the West Coast. So you should be able to work out your times from that. And yes, here's the knob again. People want to see the knob, so this is the knob. Let's see if we can get to focus on it.
Yeah, is there is it a picture of something, or is it?
No, it's just like mother of pearl, so it's kind of like an opal iridescent type precious stone inlay on it, and the rest of it's solid brass. So it is genuinely lovely. It's a really nice knob. So thank you for giving me a nice knob.
Yeah. All right. There you go. You heard it here first, guys. Jay really likes UPass's knob. Top tier knob, from what I hear.
As well as that, there might be an additional build stream next week, because tomorrow I've got 2 boards coming out. I've got a HHKB Anti-Copper TX60, which I want to build before the UK meetup, which is a week on Saturday. So there won't be a stream a week on Sunday, because I'll be at the meetup and I won't be able to stream that week. But I might try and do a build Thursday, Friday, which will be around tea time, my sort of time. So again, lunchtime for you guys in the US. And we might do that midweek if I can fit it in. If not, then that build stream will be the weekend after.
Maybe we can have a dual build stream if the timing lines up, right? That'd be fun.
Oh, that could be good. Yeah, that
we haven't done that together yet, I don't think.
No, we could have a look at that. Yeah,
that could be kind of fun.
All right. Yeah, that might be fun. Yeah, we can potentially do. A dual build stream. That could be good. Yeah, I like that idea. Let's have a look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Do these get posted to announcements? Ask 10 Strong. Yeah, usually when something's going on, we try to post it in the announcements.
Yeah, and if you're in the Discord as well, whenever we start streaming, the bot will ping after a few minutes as well. So if there ever is a stream, you can. You can look at that. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I've just read right on the base. Jay, can you show off UPass's knob or not on stream? There's it's now my knob, so have a gander at my new knob, guys.
Yeah, it's not a particularly.
I'll take some really nice pictures.
It's not a particularly large knob, but it does look very pretty.
Hey, it's pretty chunky. I'll be honest. It's got some heft to it as this knob. Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, you won't want to get hit in the face by this knob. Let me tell you.
Very nice. some nice knob you got.
Thanks.
It's good. Also, just since you might actually have it, Jay, can you relink the logo contest form again before we get head out?
Yeah.
So we talked about it at the beginning of the show, but Clack going through a little bit of a refresh, a little bit of an evolution, if you will, and part of that's going to be changing kind of some media assets going forward. We are going to change our logo, we're going to change our overlays and stuff. So we have a logo design contest going on right now that you can enter via the form that Jay just linked in chat. Pretty simple stuff. You can design a new logo. It doesn't matter if you hand draw it. It doesn't matter if you professionally do it on whatever software you prefer, whatever. As long as we see it, as long as we get the idea. The winner will be decided by Clack, by Jay and myself, and the winner will receive a fresh, unopened, brand new, sealed set of GMK Modern Dolch, which is a freaking awesome prize. So just make sure.
So big shout again to Janglad and MyKeyboard.eu for providing that as well. It was really kind of them. We want to share the Modern Dolch love, and we thought we'd tie it into something that we're doing as a bit of a giveaway and tie into something that Brian and I are really excited about as well. So and as Brian says, even if you can't draw, as long as it doesn't matter what it looks like, these ideas, we want ideas that we can take forwards and inspiration for ourselves. So even if you can't draw, don't worry about that. This isn't about who's the best artist or anything like that. It could be 3 lines on a piece of paper, and if that's the inspiration that we need to help us refresh Clack, then that's the inspiration we need. It doesn't matter if it's pen drawn, crayon drawn, digitally drawn, or 3D designed, or even if you 3D print and post it to one of us. It doesn't matter. We will absolutely take a look at everything, and everything will be judged off its own basis.
One thing I will say that'll give you just a little bit of a head start, a little bit of a tip, is what we're looking for is something clean, something professional, something relatively simple. Eskimo in chat is asking what the current top Clack font is. I don't remember the name, but the font is something we're going to change 100%.
Yeah, we want to move away from that particular font. Yes.
Yeah. You know, not that we dislike it per se. It was cool for a while. We just want to move forward into something a little bit cleaner to try to, you know, keep up with the more modern times. So, you know, just throwing it out there. We want something kind of clean, something professional. It doesn't have to follow any of the themes or colors or fonts that we currently use. It can be completely fresh, whatever you want it to be. So just, you know, show us some designs, and hopefully maybe you can win a GMK Modern Dolch set.
Absolutely. Someone's got to win it. Someone's got to win it.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say as well is just bear in mind, guys, that whatever you do, come up with it where it's going to be used. So we use it for all of our promotional stuff. So it'll be the logo that you can see on screen now, but it'll also be on our overlays. So it needs to look good on different kinds of backgrounds. It'd be nice if it looked good on t-shirts and things. So just consider while you're coming up with the designs and the ideas, how it might look on different formats and different media as well, because that's really, really important to us too.
Yep. Yeah, awesome stuff. All right, so we are currently caught up, and now is a good time to head out for the night or morning, if you're Jay.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it as always. We hope you had a good time like we did. If you check below the stream, you can find a link to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to us there, catch VODs, typing tests, and other videos of the sort in that area. You can also join our official Discord, which is linked below as well. Check us out there. Come hang out, chat, talk about keyboards, talk about, you know, food, your dog, whatever. There's something for everyone there. And upcoming build streams, of course, Jay is going to have his Sunday, 12 p.m. Pacific time, as usual.
You'll be very satisfied.
Yep, you guys will all be very satisfied, and hopefully I can prime you guys up for that on Friday, tomorrow, with a little build stream of my own, probably around 5 or 6 Pacific time if I do it tomorrow. But you know, keep your eyes on the Discord. I'll announce the announcements channel, of course, beforehand. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and have a good night / good morning, all of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much, guys.